Hi guys, welcome back to the Yan City TV after 4 years. Sorry, it's been so long. That is all my fault. But yeah, it's been a long time. I'm a bit lost on this, so yeah, you might need to um bear with me a little bit because I am a little bit behind on this. But yeah, um yeah, how are you guys doing? I'm just going to discuss Man City in general first, and then we'll get on to the wider football chat. Um, but yeah, I think in terms of Man City, I just want to say I think the season's been quite typical of what you'd expect of a normal Man City. We do tend to start slowly. I did predict it this season that we would start slower than usual just because we have so many new players coming in, and the ones that did come in last season, they have struggled a little bit with injuries. So it was always going to be one of them seasons where we're trying to get people used to how we play, used to each other's patterns. And I always say this, like, players need to be, they need to learn each other. They need to, get to know each other through like where they're going to be at what time, what kind of passes they require, etc., etc. So yeah, it'll be nice to see that progress as the season goes on. We can already see with Pep what he's trying to do. He's already trying to shoehorn kind of everyone into the squad, because I think he's realised more so last season that you can't just kind of rely on a couple of players, that are going to be fit the whole season, like a Rodri, who gave us, to be fair, so many games in back to back to back seasons. Like, he literally was available every game until he got injured. So yeah, I think he's very aware of that, and for that reason, he's kind of bringing in everyone. Like, the starting lineup that we played last night was, a lot of fans were not happy with it. And I feel like this season, when fans aren't happy with it, we tend to win. It's quite a strange thing. But yeah, I think Pep's definitely trying to say, like, this is the squad I'm putting out. If you don't like it, fair enough. And to be fair, it worked in his favour. We started really, really well, actually. Could have been 2-0 up early on. I think if Haaland doesn't try and pass, and he also scores that header, we would have been 2-0 up even earlier than we were. So yeah, I think we played quite well. He's definitely trying to bring in, Eureka Lewis's, players like that wouldn't necessarily start if you were to put out your best Man City squad. But they're going to be key. If we want to win stuff this season, if we want to go on and win the Prem or the Champions League or anything, even the FA Cup or the Carabao, we're going to need the whole team involved. And I think that's what he's trying to do. You see it quite a lot at the moment. A lot of people are saying we're way too reliant on Haaland, and to an extent that's true because he scores a lot of our goals. But what a lot of people don't realise, or don't seem to want to realise, is when you have a traditional number 9 like Haaland is, it's kind of like old school. He's more old school than the new nines. And yeah, for that reason, he um he's going to score more than the new sort of number 9s who are a bit more, we can all score in this game. With Haaland, he wants to score, he wants to be, he's going to be asking for the ball whenever we're in an attacking position. And when they find him, 9 times out of 10 he scores. So for me, I'm happy with that. When he didn't play last season and the season before, we actually scored more goals, and I think that's because instead of looking for Haaland, people were taking their own shots. If you're in front of the goal, you're not thinking, where's Haaland, where's Haaland? You're just going to take the shot, and obviously that then leads to other players scoring a lot more goals. So it's nice to see. Big up to everyone in the comments. But yeah, it's nice to see that you know that Haaland is getting as many goals, because I want him to break all the records. I do. I think he's definitely the best striker. I don't know why people are trying to compare him to anyone else. He is the best striker, and I'd like to see him get break all the records. So for me, if he can stay as long as he, his contract is for, if not longer. He's a City fan. He loves City. You can see it on his face. You can see it the way he interacts with the fans. Yeah, then we're in for a great decade, So yeah, let's hope he can stay. I think if he does get injured, which I think's a bit inevitable, I don't think anyone can play the whole season in all competitions and not get any sort of setback. I think he will get rested as well if we do play maybe an easier team, or say we qualify for Europe and we're, top 8 and we're in a position maybe going into the last game where we're 4 points clear of the team behind or something like that. Maybe Pep rests him. But yeah, be nice. I hope he retires at City. I really hope he does, because he gets it. Not every player gets it, and I know it sounds a bit cheesy to say that, but yeah, he gets the fans. He loves the club, and he's also the best. So yeah, win. If anyone was watching me years ago, you'll know how excited I was when we were linked to Haaland. Yeah, there was a reason for that. And to be fair, I didn't even think he'd be as good as he is, which is crazy to say. But yeah, he's just brilliant, So yeah, Madrid ain't buying him, Flawless. They are not buying him. I don't know how to. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're not. They're not. To be fair, Madrid are the only ones that probably can afford him, because I know a lot of Barcelona fans have been saying, oh, we're going to buy him. It's like, you still owe us for Ferran Torres. So I don't see you buying Haaland, who's in a 10-year contract. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so game yesterday, as I was saying, first half, brilliant. To be fair, I don't think City got out of second gear the whole game, and I don't think we needed to. I think a lot of people are kind of brushing over, oh, it's Villarreal. It is Villarreal, but they are also third in La Liga, and they are unbeaten since, I think, January or something like that. So they have a long time at home unbeaten. So it wasn't as easy as people are making out, like, oh, it's just Villarreal. I think we handled the game quite well. We didn't obviously come out of second gear, which is good. We need to savour our energy. We have Aston Villa next. So yeah, I think it was an okay game. Second half, Nico Gonzalez got injured. I'm not going to say too much on Partey, but you know my opinion on him. Second DM of ours that he's injured, there's just, yeah, I'm not happy with him at all. Hopefully Nico's okay. I've not heard much. Pep just said it was like his foot that got, hurt, but I don't know if it's a serious injury or something a lot less serious. So we'll see what comes out about that. To be fair, I've not been keeping up with it. So if there's been any updates, let me know, because I actually don't know. But yeah, I love Nico Gonzalez. Anyone that knows me knows I love him. So yeah, I think he's getting better and better. When he came in, there was a lot of doubts. Oh, can he be Rodri? I don't think it's fair to compare anyone to Rodri. For me, Rodri's the best DM in the world. You can't just compare anyone to him and expect them to be anywhere near his level. But there is a difference between Nico Gonzalez and Calvin Phillips. When Calvin Phillips came in and Rodri used to go off, the decline was very clear. Like, you could literally see the gaps in the midfield that were not being covered once Rodri went off. And to be fair, for me, Rodri plays like 3 positions, so I don't expect anyone to play all 3, but I do expect them to not be a bigger drop off as Calvin Phillips was. And yeah, I think with Calvin, there was, I think there was a Villa, I think it was Aston Villa or West Ham, one of them. We played them at home. I don't know if anyone saw this game. And Rodri had to come off for whatever reason, and he came on, and I think we were 2-0 up, and it looked like we were going to lose the game. Like, in the end, I think it was, I think we were 3-0 up, and we almost lost it, put it that way. So yeah, we don't want anyone like that. Nico Gonzalez, every time I've seen him play, he's been brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He's come on, he's done his job. I think he gave away a penalty once this season with a high foot, but again, it wasn't intentional. He's not, done something stupid in the box. He's just kind of gone for the ball, and his foot was high. So even that, I can't really blame him for. Like, maybe in hindsight, he shouldn't have put his leg up as high, but at that time, he's thinking, I want to stop this from being a goal. So yeah, I'm all for him and the way he's playing. I think he's been really good. I think City fans, now that we're doubting him, are kind of getting on board with him right now, which I love. So yeah, hopefully we'll see, him get better and better, and hopefully he's not injured. I'm praying he's not injured, even though Rodri, to be fair, is probably getting back to fitness. So as long as one of them is available, I think we're okay. We're okay. But yeah, Villa now. This is not the game that we could do with right now, especially if Nico is injured. Villa, since COVID, we've struggled there a little bit. I remember a few years ago I was doing a watch along and I don't even think I'd turned the game on, and we conceded already. So there's that. And that was in our title winning seasons, So it's going to be difficult. I'm not really looking forward to it, to be fair. I think Villa away we could have done with earlier when they weren't in good form, or later in the season. But we'll play it. We have to play everyone home and away. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like I say, Nico is fit. Hopefully Rodri is fit. That would be the best case scenario. And yeah, hopefully Haaland scoring again. He's trying to break records at the moment. He's scored 12 games in a row in all comps, all, for Norway as well. So it'd be nice to see him continue that. And yeah, let's just hope Villa kind of go back to the start of the season Villa rather than the current Villa, who are in good form. So yeah, we'll see. It's not easy. I don't think any game in the Prem, I say this a lot, I don't think any game is a guaranteed 3 points anymore. You look at the teams that have come up, look where they are in the league, they're not even struggling. So, normally when teams come up, they struggle for a little bit, then they get into the hang of it, and some of them will go on a run. There's always one that kind of is in the top sort of 10 for parts of the season. But yeah, they all look good so far. So there's that. I think Wolves are the only team really that you'd look at now and think they're not quite where they were. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you never know. I don't think anyone has a really bad team. Even Wolves, I don't think their team's crazy or anything like that. I don't think they're really shit. I just think everyone else is better at the moment. So yeah. And then as for the title race, again, it's October. I think people are way too dramatic, especially on football Twitter, like, oh, you lose a game, you're not in the title race anymore. It's just not how it works. Like, at the end of the day, Arsenal always start strong. City always start slow. Liverpool, it depends. They either start slow or I think they're the most versatile. Like sometimes I think when they won the league, they started really well and they just continued it. And we've done that before in, the Centaurian season, we started well, but most of the time we don't start too well. It takes us a while, and sort of after Christmas is where City start stepping it up, and that's normally what happens. Even last season was horrendous for City as City standards go. Like, we weren't good. We lost. We were unbeaten. Winless in 12 or 14. And yeah, it was crazy. Really terrible form. And we ended up, if you look at the league table from January onwards, Man City are actually top of that table, I believe. So, yeah, it just proves that even in a terrible season for City, where we were hit with injuries, we had to bring new players in January. I don't think they were panic buys, as some people like to make out. City don't do their business that way. City tend to look at a player for a while before they sign them. So I don't think it was a panic buy, as some people were claiming at the time, and I've always held that opinion. But I think we brought them in maybe sooner than we would have done. If Rodri doesn't get injured, maybe Nico Gonzalez comes in the summer. Kusanov, another one. I don't think maybe we pay as much for him if he comes in the summer. But we had to buy him when we did. Kusanov, by the way, brilliant player. Every time he plays, I don't know what rival fans are watching, but every time I see him, our back line, we don't feel like we're conceding, even when we're under a bit of pressure, like against Arsenal, don't really feel like we're conceding. He comes off, we concede. So yeah, Kusanov, great signing. Nico Gonzalez, great signing. And Marmoush, I love Marmoush. Unfortunately for him, he's not really been fit enough to kind of get a run of games, which I think is what he needs. But he's a brilliant player. So he saved us a little bit last season. You know, in the second half of the season, he was our second top scorer after Haaland. So yeah, it he's done his job so far, but there's a long way to go. I think he's got a lot more to give. And yeah, hopefully now he's back, we can see a run of games. That'd be nice. And yeah, it'd be nice for Pep to have the option of, do I play Haaland or Marmoush? Rather than it just being Haaland, Haaland, Haaland every week, you know, because he does need a rest. He will need a rest. You know, I don't want to burn him out. We've seen young players before that play so many games so young, and you know they're a bit busted when they get older. So it'd be nice for Haaland to be able to have a little rest here and there. Not that he'll want to, especially while this record is going on. He's going to want to continue playing. So yeah, let me get to some of the comments now because sorry guys. Big up to Sammy every time. Big up Nathan, a long time no see. Big up Calvin. I know, it's nice to be back, you know. It really is nice to be back. I have been saying it for a while, so I thought, you know what? F it. Today is going to be the day that I come back. So there's that. Yeah, we did better than the first half. I think we took our foot off the gas in the second half. They had quite a lot of chances. Donnarumma, by the way, has been brilliant since he's come in. I don't know if anyone saw, but on BR Sports, I was asked by Miles whether I wanted Donnarumma, and the reason why I said I didn't is because I love Ederson, and I just think Ederson, he's our most successful goalkeeper ever. You know, he is still young. He's a great, I wouldn't say he's the best shot stopper, but in terms of how we play, he's perfect for us. And you know, no one has that ice cold demeanor that he has. You know, he's so calm and collected. Like, you know, he just doesn't panic. Everything's cool. But I do think the past couple of seasons, he has struggled a little bit. He really has. Statistically, no. Like, if you look statistically, he's not been too bad. But I have always felt in the last season and maybe the season before, whenever a team were kind of counter-attacking, you felt like we could concede at that point, which obviously is not great because you don't want to feel like that. You want to feel like, oh, my goalkeeper's got this. I have to say, I have that with Donnarumma. Like, Donnarumma definitely makes you feel safe. So yeah, it wasn't that and I said this at the time, it's not that I don't rate Donnarumma because we know how good Donnarumma is. He's just won a treble, literally. But at the same time, I do think I didn't think he'd fit in as well to City as he does. Obviously, his passing, we know, is nowhere near Ederson, but I don't think anyone is. It's like when you're comparing people to Haaland, there's, you know, the standards and at passing, Ederson is clear of everyone else. So I don't think you can compare anyone to him in that regard. But yeah, Donnarumma, he's been a godsend since he's come in. Made a mistake here or there, like every keeper, but yeah, I mean, we're unbeaten since he's come in. Obviously, that will end at some point, but yeah, I think the players feel a lot more secure with him behind them. And I think the fact that he isn't like Ederson and he's not going to try and, you know, run into the midfield, and that obviously makes the players feel a little bit more secure that he's probably just going to make the save, you know, and they don't have to think about what's going on behind me. Yeah, so there's that. And also, I think with the passing, it's not great, but we tend to pass out from the back 9 times out of 10. So his kicking doesn't matter too much. His passing doesn't matter too much as long as he keeps it simple, doesn't try anything fancy. And yeah, me personally, sometimes I think you just need to boot it out. If you're under pressure, get it up the pitch. Don't start messing about at the back, because one mistake, especially with our defence, because we don't have like a standard set for like an Arsenal or a Liverpool where the same the same back four tend to play most of the games. I know Liverpool a little bit different with their new signings, but you know, last season it was Van Dijk, Kanate, Trent, and Robbo, or whoever, you know, that obviously brought Kirkez in now. So you could say Kirkez and Frimpong, but they are changing them out a little bit. Szoboszlai's been playing right back and stuff like that. But in general, they tended to, especially last season, have a setback for Arsenal. When everyone's fit, they have a setback for. So we don't have that. We go in and out. There's different players coming in and out. And because of that, the goalkeeper just needs to keep it simple. Because if you've not been playing every week, yeah, you want a simple 5-yard pass that you can just, under no pressure. You don't want to be passing it into that danger area. One mistake from an Ake or Stones and you're a goal down. So we don't want that. But yeah, I think he's settled in well. He looks like he's been here for ages. He seems to love the club. I love that. So yeah, no complaints about Donnarumma. Very happy with him. Skills, Jan is back. I know, finally. Big up to Flawless every time. Arteta's son. Yeah, he might be, He might be. He might be. So, Skills says, Arsenal are winning the league to Nathan. This is one of the things I was saying earlier. I think with Arsenal, I do think Arsenal can win the league. I do think City can win the league, and I do think Liverpool can win the league. And at this point in the season, any of the three, in my opinion, can win it. There's reasons why I think City can win it. There's reasons why I think Arsenal can win it, and there's reasons why I think Liverpool can win it. For City, I think Pep is the main reason. Not saying we don't have a good squad, because we do. Our squad's actually better than people think. I think a lot of people are kind of saying our City's squad aren't good, their defence is crap. Yeah, our defence is not the best, but statistically, it's actually not as bad as people think. I think it's second to Arsenal. So it's not as bad as people make out. We are conceding, obviously, a few goals. We do that. But I don't think City are at the best part of their season yet. I think Donnarumma coming in helps us defensively as well. Kusanov, when he's back, hopefully he's back soon, will help us as well. So yeah, I think City are okay. We're never going to be that Chelsea 15 goals in a season conceded. We're not going to do that. That's just not how we are. That's not how we play. We're always going to, the way that we play, high risk, high reward. We're always going to have, some counter attacks against us. We're always going to concede the odd goal. And I think up until we got Donnarumma, that's another thing I will say. When it comes to set pieces, he just seems to get rid of it. You don't feel like every corner we kind of felt like we could concede a couple of years ago. And now it just feels like he's going to deal with it, which is nice, because that was one of our weak points, I would say. I always felt like, on a counter or a set piece, we were always kind of open to conceding. So it's nice to see that that's not been too much of a problem this season as much. But yeah, I think Arsenal can win the league, because Arsenal actually do have probably the best depth in terms of the players they have in positions. They do keep a solid back four, which is a very good, well, it is the best defence, and they do tend to keep that defence week in, week out. And yeah, that's if they can get over their whole, because I don't think Arsenal ever struggle at this time of the season, ever. Like, if we go back to 4 years ago when I was streaming at this time of the year, Arsenal were probably doing well. It's never really been a problem for them. It's more after, sort of when City step it up, is when Arsenal tend to collapse a little bit. But they have been close, getting closer and closer, so maybe it is their season to win it. But I'm not so sure. I'd have to see. For what makes me think City are more likely than Arsenal is Pep Guardiola. I don't think squad-wise City are clear of Arsenal or vice versa, but I do think our manager's much better. So I think if it does come down to a title race where it's close, I do think Pep will come out on top. But we've never really seen a close title race that City haven't won. So it would be new if that happens. Maybe we're not ready yet. I don't know. Our fans don't seem to think we are. I think we can do it anyway. I just think Pep is Pep. He can pull some out the bag when he needs to. And yeah, Liverpool, they're the champions. I think champions are always favourites. Their fans are going to try and downplay it. Like, no, we're not fit. You are favourites. You won the league. You then spent loads of money to bring in players. So therefore, you automatically will be favourites for the title. But yeah, like that's just kind of how it goes. I do think at the moment, and I do think, I do think when it comes to Liverpool, and it's funny because my dad was saying at the start of the season Liverpool won't win it. And a lot of, people were kind of saying, well, why not? And he was saying because they brought in so many new players, he doesn't think they'll win it. And it kind of looks that way. Like, I have no doubt, and I've said this a lot, that Isak and Wirtz will not come good. Like, they're good players. They're going to come good at some point. But I do think it takes a while. It takes a while for them to know what, coming from the Bundesliga, you do have to catch up a little bit. And there's a lot of players that have come from the Bundesliga and they've struggled, I think City haven't had that problem, to be fair. Most of our Bundesliga players have come in and kind of hit the ground running. I know Ekitike has, so it happens, but then there's some that take a little bit longer. And I think he's one of them that's taken a little bit longer. Not saying he isn't playing well. I think he is playing well, but I just think he's not at the level that you'd expect for what they paid. They were saying he's top 5 in the Prem. That's not a top 5 in the Prem player right now. But yeah, he'll get there. He will get there. Sorry, I'm gonna like literally get some comments because I feel like I'm gonna be talking about stuff that let me kind of go from the bottom. Nathan says, I think Liverpool just need to find cohesion with the new signings and stuff like that. They need another centre back as well, I feel. Yeah, they did try to get Guy, to be fair. They did. They tried to get him in. I think if they got him in, that's a lot better for them, having that option. I still think it'd be Konate and Van Dijk as they're starting two, but obviously it's nice to have someone else there that you can kind of rotate in for. And I think when Konate went off injured, they ended up playing Gravenberch there. So yeah, they definitely need that. I think they'll go for him in January, because the competition, even though the rumours are saying that they won't and they'll go for him in the summer, I don't think he'll be there in the summer. I don't think he will. I think honestly, I think he'll be snapped up in Jan, to be fair. So I think they kind of have to. They have to go and get him. But yeah, this is another thing, Luca. I agree with you. I don't know why they didn't go for a number 6. They need a Rodri, and I said this yesterday. They need a Rodri. I don't know why. I know why they obviously bought 2 strikers. You need 2 strikers. Obviously Diaz left as well, so I get why they kind of went for Isak and Ekitike. But yeah, they need a 6. I think that's been obvious from before last season. They needed one. And Gravenberch has been great and he's been playing there, but he's not a natural number 6. So yeah, they do. They definitely need a Rodri. They haven't replaced Fabinho. Yeah, they do. They need someone alongside him because he's now getting injured. I think because he's the pressure. Number 6 position is the hardest position to play in certain systems. Pep's for one, probably under Slot as well. They need, yeah, they need someone alongside him, definitely for sure. Luca also says, sorry, I'm going backwards. It's a bit of a wrong way to do it, but I'm going backwards. I think City will win it. I actually think we can win it, to be fair, but it's way too early in the season. Like, it's honestly way too early. I think at the moment, any of the 3 can win it, and it sounds crazy, but we've seen how it changed. Look, go back to like 5 games in. Liverpool were unbeaten. Arsenal had lost 1. City had lost 2 already. Do you know what I mean? And everyone was looking at the table going, City have no chance this season. Flip it round. We're now second, 3 points behind Arsenal. It's just, yeah, it's crazy how things can change. So yeah, in 10 more games, we could end up rock bottom of the league, and yeah, Arsenal could be clear of us, Liverpool could be clear of us. We just don't know. It's not going to set up to look like a title race till probably February at the earliest. So until then, there's that. Sammy saying trust the great Arteta. It's funny actually with Ryan, big up Ryan in the comments, because Ryan used to slag me off basically for rating Arteta. We used to say, "Oh, Arteta's shit," and I was like, "No, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good for Arsenal." I just think Arsenal as a club was probably too big of a job for him. I think he should have probably started somewhere where, because Arsenal are trying to get kind of back to the top. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get back, and I think to come in and take a job like that is difficult at the best of times, because even though there's not pressure to win right now like there would be if he joined a Man City or even a Chelsea, because Chelsea fans don't have the patience to kind of wait either. I think, I don't know. I think with Arsenal, they're kind of in a point where the fans are getting a bit impatient now. And it's like, right now we need to win. And I just think if maybe he had a little bit less pressure, he'd probably be a little bit better. So yeah, there's that. Nathan, I feel like the pundits are just talking about us in Liverpool and sleeping on City slightly. Do you agree, Anne? I think they were. I think now the closer we get to the top, and if we win our next 4 games, because our next 4 games are not easy. If we win them 4 games, then I think that's when they'll start talking about City. But yeah, it happens every season. This time of the year is not good for City, and everyone kind of says at this time, "Oh, City are not going to win it." And then by May, it's we can't compete. And I know last season was different, but that's just kind of how it's been recently. So yeah, I do think they tend to do that. Sammy says, "Goalkeeper, please stop chats if you want to pass it. Put Tony Cruz again." I agree with that, to be fair. I definitely agree with that. Big up to Scott Carson every time. He didn't play many times for us. He's now retired. I think there was 12 games, 120 minutes or something. 15 trophies or something daft like that. So yeah, definitely was big behind the scenes in terms of what he did for City. Not so much, but big up to him every time. How do you feel about the Villa game this weekend? I feel pretty good. I'm not sure why Villa has fell off so much. They didn't lose any important players in the last window that I remember. I don't know with Villa, because Villa kind of come back into form now. They've got good players, so it's not that they didn't have the players. I just think, I don't know, the start of the season, maybe they just took a bit longer to get into the flow of things. So yeah, I don't know. My thoughts on Reinders and Cherky so far. I love Cherky. I love him. I think, the little cameos that he's played, he's been good. He did struggle in his second game. I think it was against Spurs. Struggled a little bit. Came on against Wolves and was good. Scored. And then, yeah, the game against Tottenham. But I don't think anyone was good against Tottenham, so I wouldn't really hold that against him. And then obviously he played 10 minutes in our last game and he looked good. So, yeah, I expect him to get better and better. Reinders, he was kind of the same in a way. Like, he's played really well against Wolves. I think that's his best game. Then after that, he's not looked as good, but he's still a good player. He didn't win Italian midfielder of the year for no reason. He is, yeah, he's going to be good for us. I think it's just taking him a little bit longer because he's playing in a position that's a little bit harder to kind of nail down. Do you know what I mean? So I expect him to be better and better as the season goes on. But he's not been terrible. He's just not been as good as he was against Wolves. Big up to Luke every time. Thank you. I'm happy to be back. Big up Carrie from the City. Thanks for subscribing. Marmouche is cold though and has shown a lot of good moments so far. I agree with that. I do think Cherky might start versus Villa. Foden, I think, will definitely start. He's kind of been rested, I would say, for that game. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Europa League flawless needs to come back. But I definitely don't need to endure that. Absolutely not. Right, let me go down to the bottom now. Sorry, guys. If you are still watching. Carrie says, "I agree. I think we can win it. The season is long and so plenty of time from now until the champion's crowned." I 100% agree. I think as long as we're in it, I think we've sort of 5 points behind, or 5, 6, 7 kind of points behind, even in going into May, I think you can win it. You know, we've seen City 11, 12. You know, how many points behind were we? Like 9 points, 8 points with 6 games to go, and we ended up, obviously we won it on goal difference, but yeah, it can still be won then. I don't think Arsenal will do the same mistake if they are top. I don't expect them to drop as many points as they had previously. But yeah, all it takes is a head-to-head and you win, and you know, and then it changes how the points are in the league, and next minute you've got a chance. So as long as City are there and thereabouts, I would never ever rule us out, you know. Until it's mathematically impossible to win it, I would never rule us out. But yeah, I don't know with Arteta, because their fans are kind of turning to Arteta in. But I do think he's under this pressure now. If he doesn't win it, when is he going to win it? You know, because I think last season, and I've said this a lot, Man City, obviously, as champions, were favourites, of course. It was very obvious quite early on that we were not going to win the league. We fell off. Boy, did we fall off. Like, we were terrible, you know, for around this time last year. Really, really bad. We weren't going to win it. We did recover, to be fair, quite well to finish third. But, you know, people were talking about, are we even going to get top 4 for quite a while last season? So that shows where we were. Which after 4 in a row, I expected us to fall off a little bit. So not too bothered about it myself, but from, you know, are we going to win the league? It was obvious we weren't. Liverpool had a new manager. There's no real pressure when you're a new manager. Come in, see what you can do, get your players in the summer, and then prove that what kind of manager you are the following season. So yeah, Slot was new. There was no real pressure on Slot to win. They hadn't done that well the season before. They'd lost Klopp. There was a lot going on. So I think for Slot, there wasn't a lot of pressure. So that was where Arteta should have come out and won it. You know, Pep's having an off season. Slot's new. You have to win it then. And I think the fact that he didn't makes me think they won't win it this year. But who knows? Maybe it's what, 4th time lucky for him. Maybe he does actually pull it out the bag this time. But I just think that last season was a perfect opportunity for him to go and say, you know what, I'm the guy. And he didn't. So, you know, letting Slot win it when Slot's new. He didn't buy a single player. Yeah, for me, I don't think that should have happened. So yeah, Ryan, as he always says, he thinks Arsenal are going to win it this season. Luca, who's an Arsenal fan, says Arsenal won't win it. They bottle it again. Okay, maybe he's not an Arsenal fan then. But he said he was an Arsenal fan. But yeah, I don't know about bottling it. I think if they are top, and I do think if they go into the last couple of games top, I do think they finally win it. But I think if it's close, if it's very close, I don't think they do. I think they'd have to be sort of 4 points clear going into the last game. Well, the last couple of games. Maybe the last 3 games, if they're 4 points clear, then I think they win it. But if they know that one loss and they don't win it, like say they're 3 points, I don't know if they win it, you know. I don't know. Hopefully they've learnt from what Rodri has said, because they keep going on about Rodri. They keep saying, oh, what he said was out of order. He said something and he was proven right, you know, and what, 3 years later, you're going to prove him wrong. I think it's a bit late, you know. At the time, he was right. And to be fair, he's still right until you win it. So there's that. But yeah, let me see what else everyone's saying. Arsenal will win. They have to win it. They have to. There's no way that they can play that well for this many seasons, have the defense that they have, and not win it. There's no way. Like, if that's true, like if they don't win it this season, they probably should sack Arteta, because how how have you not won it? This is crazy. Like, City were not even good the last time we won it. Liverpool were, I'd say, the best of a bad bunch last season. I think Salah was brilliant, but I don't think Liverpool as a whole were brilliant, you know. Arsenal should have won it last year, and they should have won it the year before. So yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, Carrie's saying to Nathan that she's wondering how much time they'll give Arteta. I don't know how long. I feel like they'll keep him. I think they'll keep him. I think it's probably like a Man City situation with the Champions League. You felt we were going to win it eventually, and every time we went out, it was kind of a setback, but you always felt like City are going to win this Champions League. Maybe they feel like that with the Prem. And I think they will win it. I do think Arsenal will win the league. Maybe not this year. It would depend on City and Liverpool. If City and Liverpool don't perform, like say City have a season like last season where it's just not clicking, we get injuries to key players and we're just not doing it, then they'll win it, surely. They have to. But I think if City are on it, like typical City second part of the season, I'm not so sure. I think they'd have to be quite a few points clear of us to get it over the line. Nathan says, yeah, Cherki's cold. Watched him for Leon last season and said whoever signs him is getting a cold player. He's the kind of player when he's playing a joy to watch. Yeah. I know, I agree. I actually was saying at the time, because obviously we were heavily linked to Wirtz, so I thought Wirtz was like, you know, a lot more progressed than it was. But I did say, you know, for the money that he is, you have to step him up. Even if we'd have got Wirtz, I probably would have got Cherki as well, because for that money, you have to get him in. Because if a rival gets him and he's as good as he looks like he's going to become, yeah, you have to step him up. I'm actually surprised our club went for him, because we weren't linked for him for ages, and I was like on the timeline like we need to get him, and we got him. So I'm surprised. That City game Madrid is going to be harder than I first thought when the draw was made. Yeah, our record there isn't great, especially without De Bruyne. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that by that game, City don't need to win. Because I think if we beat Dortmund at home and our next game, Galatasaray, then I think when we go into... Oh no, maybe we have Galatasaray in between Madrid. But yeah, I think there's a way where we don't have to win that game. I don't want to go into that game in Madrid having to win. Absolutely not. Not that we can't win, but I don't want to go into that desperate to win. I don't. So we'll see what happens. I kind of like this new format. I like the fact that there's a lot of goals being scored. There's a lot of batterings. Like the other night, there was crazy scorelines going on everywhere. I quite like that. Goal difference matters at the end of the day. And yeah, I think I quite like it. It's also quite good that if you do struggle, you can still go on to win it. Look at PSG. You know, PSG have a group stage like they had in the group stage last season. They're probably, you know, out of the Champions League, but they ended up going on to win it, you know. So there's that. That's always a good thing. So yeah, if we have a playoff, we have a playoff. We'll just have to see how it goes, but I hope we can finish in the top 8 this time. The draws cost us last season. I think it was 14 we had. Can't afford that again. That is what I will always say on the Prem. Like, if you've been watching me for years, you know I always say this. Draws are what screw you over. Because when you lose a game, it's a wake-up call. And the team say, you know what? We need to change something. It's not working. When you draw, everyone thinks it's okay. And you tend to just continue what you're doing. And it leads to more draws. And next minute, you've lost the league by 2 points and you're wondering how. Yeah. Definitely. And City are quite good in that regard. We tend to lose or win. We don't have too many draws. And I like that about us, because draws are what screw you over, especially in a title race. Ask Liverpool fans. That screws you over every time. Gabriel Saliba do deserve a pair. Well, they need to leave clubs then. I don't want them to get it at Arsenal. And if we don't win it again, I worry about the toll it could take mentally on our players, because to go 3-4 years not getting over the line, I don't know. You know, it's interesting that you say that, because when it came to the Champions League, I remember when De Bruyne, I don't know if you remember it, he kicked off and he was like, it's the same shit every time when we went out. And it's kind of like the players do get to that point where they're like, they almost don't trust their teammates, especially if they're the main guy. It's kind of like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, you're not doing it, you know. And I could imagine if City were in Arsenal's situation, a player like Haaland would probably feel the same. I feel like he'd think, I'm doing my job scoring, what are you doing at the back, you know? And he did come out a few weeks ago when we drew and kind of said, or did we lose? I think we lost. And he was like saying, you know, oh no, we must have drawn. and he was like, I didn't do my job well enough. And it's like, but you scored 2 goals. You can't say you didn't do it well enough if you score 2 goals. It's the defense you need to look at, when you're in that situation. So I think sometimes I do think if Arsenal don't win it this year, some of them players, like the better players in that squad, will be looking around thinking, you've let me down here. I think definitely for Arsenal, if your attack doesn't get itself together and you still struggle, you get a few draws because you're scoring mainly from set pieces at the moment, which is fine. But I do think you need to get to the point where you are scoring, open play goals quite a lot as well, especially when now you've got Gyökeres. You need to be scoring more, and it might come. I wouldn't worry about it now. I don't think it's early days. But if it continues and you're not getting set pieces, because if I'm playing against Arsenal, I'm not giving them corners and free kicks. Like, I'm not trying to give them that. Let them take the shot. You're more likely to miss than you are to miss, a corner so me personally, I wouldn't be doing that. So maybe teams click onto that and say, you know what, we're not going to give Arsenal corners. We know they're very dangerous from corners. They're very dangerous from free kicks. They're very dangerous from this, that, and the other. Maybe, you draw a couple of games. But yeah, I think long term you'll sort it out. I mean, you can, there's been Leeds and obviously Atletico Madrid where you've scored, from open, and I think against City as well, that wasn't a free kick, was it? So yeah, you can do it. It's just doing it enough to kind of make sure that you don't draw the odd game. If a team does have, because there are teams in the leagues that excel in, defending corners and stuff like that. Tends to be the teams nearer the bottom because they're used to it. They face a lot of corners per game, and the keepers are just used to it. So they just, they grab the ball and they're on the way. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think Arsenal will figure it out. And when I'm saying I don't think Arsenal win the league, I'm not saying that they won't be close. I do think it'll be a 3-horse race. It might break off into a 2-horse race. But I think all three of us at this time in the season, two wins for Liverpool could completely change the league table. You know what I mean? Two losses for City, 2 losses for Arsenal. Different conversations are being had. So I remember I was looking at my bookmarks, and there's bookmarks about Liverpool, and they were favourites for the league and they were favourites for the Champions League. And within that 4 losses in a row, it's now flipped to Arsenal are favourites for both. So yeah, 2 losses to Arsenal and it'll flip back. So yeah, it's way too early at this point to be worrying about long-term things. You just kind of need to get points on the table and hope that another team doesn't go clear. You get plenty of draws in Madrid. To be fair, I don't really watch La Liga too much. I might catch the odd game here and there, but I don't really watch La Liga. I don't know if you're talking about us. We don't tend to draw. We tend to lose or win. We have drawn in the Champions League. But that's because when it's a 2-leg game, you just want to get out of the Bernabeu with something, and then you can win at home. So I understand the logic behind getting a draw in the Champions League, because you just don't want to get beat. That's what you aim for, Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. But yeah, I think in the Champions League it's slightly different. I think in the Premier League, a draw does nothing for no one. I would say though, again, if you're playing away at one of your title rivals, I do think a draw sometimes is sorry, I had to sneeze. But yeah, I think sometimes a draw is warranted. Like the Arsenal game, I would have wanted a win. If you'd have given me a draw before the game, I would have probably taken it. The way the game went, with the fact that we were 1-0 up for so long, then I would have wanted to win it. But I think sometimes you have to just get your point and go. There's days where, and I think clubs don't realise this, there's days where you're just not going to score. there's literally Tottenham at home this season, Man City. We could have played another 2 hours. I don't think City would have scored. It was one of them days. Wasn't happening. You know, we ended up losing 2-0. But yeah, I think there's games like that. There's games where you're not going to win. Take the draw. But I would never play for a draw. But I do think sometimes when it's just not going to plan, as good intentions as you have of winning that game, sometimes just get the draw, you know. But there's a difference between that and playing for a draw. I think if you go into a game thinking, I want a draw, that can't run, you know. Even when I'm saying I would take a draw against Arsenal before the game, I don't mean play for a draw. I just mean I would take a draw full-time result, regardless of what happens. But yeah, in the end, we ended up coming out of that game feeling like we wanted to have won it, you know. So there's that. And if we lose the league by 2 points, you know, you'd look at maybe that game and think, you know what, maybe we should have just held on. I do think with Kusanov, when he went off, Haaland got injured. A lot of people thought Pep took him off tactically. No, he got injured in that game. Maybe if them two are still on, maybe we win that game. But yeah, it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, don't lose away and win at home. That's the best top 6 advice you can have, you know, when you're playing your rivals. I know Arsenal have had a great record against rivals in recent seasons. It didn't win them the league, because I think with Arsenal, they have been, and I think they might change this season, they've been focusing too much on what's going on around them. When you're in a title race, you just have to play yourself. Don't think about anyone else. You know, when Man City have been in these title races where it's gone down to the final day, I highly doubt they've looked at the score at halftime of Liverpool or whoever they're, you know, going up against. I don't think they ever do. Man United, when we were against them 25, I don't think the players, you have to win your game. Doesn't matter. Obviously, if you lose or draw and the other team lose or draw, happy days. You've won it anyway. But you have to go into that game to win. And if you don't win, then you can look at what happened in their game. You know, maybe if yours finishes earlier, you can look at what's going on. But yeah, it's you know, we've seen it quite a lot. I think Liverpool and Arsenal, obviously Arsenal's a little bit different because we've not gone down to the wire like that as much. But yeah, I think you just have to focus on yourself. All you can do is win your game. All you can do is beat the team in front of you. You can't affect Arsenal or United or Liverpool. You can't affect their games. The only thing you can do is injure one of their players in the game you play, which is what Arsenal did. You know, you can do that. But in terms of, you know, like their games, you can't control that. You just have to go into every game, try and win. If you don't win, it's not like, and I will always say with City, if City go in to try and win and we don't win, that's fine. Where I get annoyed is where they just don't, they go into the game with the wrong mentality, or they get very unlucky. And I'm not mad at the team when we get unlucky. I'm more mad at the result. But I think the City go out there and they try and win and it's just not their day. What can you do? Like I'm never really mad at City anyway, win or lose, but yeah, sorry, draw or lose, I should say. But yeah, I think if they go out there and they try and win, sometimes it's just not your day. And I think this kind of goes under the radar a lot. Some days, you know, it's just not your day. Like you're just not, nothing's going in. There's them games where you hit the post 5 times, you hit the crossbar, you hit everything, you know, and it's just not happening. You know, you get very unlucky. And yeah, there's games like that, there's days like that. And I think on them days is where you think, you know what, let's just get out of here with a point, you know. But yeah, as I always said, there's a difference between going into the game wanting a draw and actually getting a draw. And I think Arsenal fans have been quite mad about City, like City players and stuff. They've said when City have got draws, but there's a difference. Like City will never settle to draw or lose ever. Like Pep, to be fair, against Arsenal, he knew Arsenal were great defensively and he knew they had a decent attack. So he set up in a way that was a little bit more negative than Man City would normally play. I don't think he set up for a draw. He definitely still went to win. It's just we knew we were going to be, smothered by Arsenal's attack, and that's what happened. Like that is how it went. We scored an early goal, thankfully, and then Arsenal just attacked us for the rest of the game. And to be fair, City defended quite well. It took quite a long time for them to actually get the breakthrough. But yeah, like Pep got slaughtered for that. But it's kind of like sometimes you have to be a little bit clever. It's like Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid used to be great defensively. I don't know what's happened to them, but the past 2 seasons where I've been watching Atletico Madrid, they just look like they can't defend. I don't know what's going on with them. And yeah, every time I watch them, they're conceding quite a few goals. Like I don't know what's going on. Even when they beat Real Madrid and it was like it's 5-2. It's like you conceding 2 goals. The old Atletico would have won that game 1-0. It's very strange. And I think obviously Alvarez is by far their best player, or he looks it. When I don't watch Atletico anymore. I used to back in the day when they had Al Tigre, my favourite guy, Radamel Falcao. I used to watch them religiously back then. That was even before Sergio, to be fair. But that's when I used to watch Atletico. But I can't say that I keep up with them now, but every time I see them, they look just very weak defensively. And it's very strange to me because they were always known as that defensively good team. So yeah, I think they kind of tried to play against Arsenal and it backfired because they got battered. So I think with City, like where we were at the time we played Arsenal, I think it's slightly different to where we are now. I think if we went in this week against them, completely different. But at that time, we were struggling a little bit. We'd lost quite a few games and we just wanted to get in and get out. But I do think if we played them now, we'd just go back to the normal City where we just... But yeah, sometimes it's suicide when you play like that. So I get it. I think you have to be clever. Pep's always been slated for not being able to adapt, not being able to, if you play a team who play a certain way, being able to adapt to that. City always kind of went, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win, and just attack. And some days when it's not working, like I've said previously, it's not always the best way to go. Sometimes you do need to adapt to the team that you're playing. And if it's not working, there's games where it's not going in. Tottenham, one of them games, So yeah, there's that. What's everyone saying? Yeah, I get you, Sammy. I didn't clock at first. I thought you said La Liga, but you said Madrid. But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably take a draw. It just depends where we are in the table. We have to beat Dortmund at home. That's the next one. See where we are week by week. But yeah, I actually think it's quite good because I think sometimes, the old seeding, it was always kind of obvious who went through. The only thing I would say about this table, which is annoying, is if a team beat you away, you kind of don't get to reply. Whereas, back in the day, you beat Madrid at home, Madrid would be able to say, you know what, we're going to beat you at our place. You can't do that in this, which is great if you win because you take your win and you go. But if you lose, there's no time to kind of reply or have a response to that. So yeah, it has its pros and cons. I like the fact that if a team who is not expected to do well win a couple of games, they can find themselves quite high up. So if you've got like a Bodo Glint or a team like that in a traditional form probably would go out, they'd be in there with a Barcelona and a Man City or something like that. You would expect Man City and Barcelona to finish first and second, and then that team would either finish third or fourth and they'd be out of the Champions League. Whereas now, if that team goes and beats maybe a Galatasaray and a Napoli or something like that, they can find themselves in a good position. And then if they do play a Madrid and they get a draw, whereas in the, in the group format before, even if they got a draw, wouldn't be enough to go through. That draw could actually take them quite high up the table, and then they've got a chance of qualifying or having a head-to-head. And if they have the head-to-head in the qualifying round, it's a one-off game, well, not a one-off game, there's 2 legs, but like it's a one-off chance to then go through, and then they find themselves further in the competition. So I do like it for that. It's good for the underdog. And like we saw last season, you know, PSG, Man City, some of these teams were finishing quite low down the table. So yeah, it's good to see. You know, a loss can take you kind of right down the table or right up the table. I mean, Man City should have beaten Monaco. It was very late when we conceded that goal. Yeah, we should have 9 points, but we don't, you know. So we just have to see how it goes. Maresca is doing a good job so far, apart from the United and Brighton game. Esteban is special baller. I actually agree. I like Esteban. From what I've seen of him, you know, he's young. He looks good. Maresca, another one of Pep's disciples. I did think at the time that job was a little bit big for Maresca, but I would say with Chelsea, I think the fans understand that they are going through a rebuild kind of stage. And I think maybe if he'd have joined 5 years ago, it would have been the wrong time to join. But now it's a pretty good time to join Chelsea, really, because I think the pressure from the fans isn't as high as it was. But yeah, I think he's good. You know, he's all right. I don't know if he's good enough to win a league or anything like that. But yeah, I think Chelsea can win something. Chelsea seem to win trophies, like whether that's a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a European competition. You know, he won the Club World Cup. I think Chelsea can get some silverware. I don't think it'll be the Prem, but yeah, they could win something else. I did say at the time that it wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea won the Club World Cup, because that's the sort of team that they are. Chelsea tend to, in these European competitions, I don't know what it is. It's like heritage. You know, they talk about, does heritage matter? I think in Champions League for Chelsea or any sort of European competition, Chelsea just seems to pull something out the bag. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, they aren't good. I don't understand Atletico Madrid. Even he's now saying that he might leave. Because yeah, I don't know. Playing at Anfield again, yeah, and they beat us last year. I just hope you win that game. I need Trent to dunk on Liverpool just for the meltdown. Just for the meltdown. That would just be complete chaos. Like the threats he's going to be getting, unreal. I need to see it. I hope he's back. I hope he's back. Nathan says, Jan, do you miss Alvarez? Honestly, I loved Alvarez. He was my little Aguero regen. I did love him. I do love him. I think he's too good to be kind of second best, which when you've got Haaland, he's always going to be second best. He needed to play every week, so I fully understand him leaving. I do understand it from his point of view. From a City point of view, it's a shame because it would be nice to have him. You know, if Haaland gets injured, him coming in, you just felt a lot more comfortable. But I do think with him, he should be winning trophies. Like this guy's basically completed football already, you know. So if he goes from completing football so young to like being stagnant for quite a few years, I don't think it really looks good for him, you know. So he's got no pressure. Like you've won a World Cup, you've won a Champions League, you've won a Premier League, you've won the Copa Libertadores, you've won your leagues in South America. You've won your leagues in the Prem. You've won cups on top. Like this guy's completed football, you know. So to then go to a team where they're not winning trophies, it's not great. He needs to win the La Liga. If he goes elsewhere, he needs to win that league. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do think when you've got a trophy haul like him, you need to keep that going. So I do think he'll go to Barcelona. I do think he will. Lewandowski's getting older and older. I think Kane's getting older too. At Bayern, so who knows? But I don't think he'll go to Germany. I don't see him going to Bayern. So yeah, I think Barcelona, Real Madrid. Don't think they need him. They've got Mbappe. I know he's not a striker per se, but he's going to want to get most of the goals. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see him at Madrid. I don't think he'll go from Atletico to Real. So for me, Barcelona looks like the most likely location. I know in the summer, a few, English clubs needed a striker, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, but they're sorted now. We have Haaland, so we wouldn't get him back. So yeah, the only place that looks like he could legitimately go for me would be Barcelona. And I think he's worth every penny if Barcelona go and get him. Um, so yeah, that looks like the most likely location. But we'll see. You never know. You never know. Alvarez or Isak. Yeah, I still think it's Isak, but I'm seeing people say Alvarez now. Do you know what? I like Isak, and I feel like I'm always criticizing him, and I'm not criticizing him because I don't rate him. I do rate Isak. I just think that when you're comparing him to Haaland, you're always going to have the argument where he's not close to Haaland, and that doesn't mean he's a great player. No one is close to Haaland. Like, if you're going to look at players close to Haaland, you're talking about Mbappe, Messi numbers, Ronaldo numbers. You're not talking about you regular strikers. So it's always going to look like a diss when you're saying he's nowhere near Haaland. But I'm not actually dissing him. Like, he's a good player. Yeah, brilliant. Even Aguero for me was the best we'd seen. Um, and then Haaland comes along and he's kind of making Aguero's numbers look crazy. And Aguero's numbers were brilliant. Like, Henry held all the records when Aguero came in, and Aguero was like taking some of Henry's records throughout the league. Haaland is going to wipe both of them out the water statistically. He's going to do that. So yeah, I think I do like Isak. I like Alvarez. I think they're slightly different in how they play. Alvarez kind of played a bit deeper for us just because we had Haaland. And I think, to be fair, he always said that he didn't mind playing that kind of position, but maybe I think he wanted to. I just think he wanted to play every week. He wanted to be the main guy at a team, and he wasn't going to be that at City. And I feel for him because he came at the wrong time. If he'd have come before, maybe when Aguero was still there, that would have been brilliant. Or if he'd have come maybe when Haaland was a bit older, obviously, if he was a different age, because they're similar in age. But yeah, I think he unfortunately came at the wrong time. I think City's scouting in South America, by the way, is good. I know obviously he was good anyway. But yeah, to get him for the price that we got him for, and we could have got Enzo Fernandez as well. We didn't. We only got Alvarez, but Enzo Fernandez was cheap at that time. Then he ended up leaving, going to Benfica, and then Chelsea bought him for big, big money. But we could have got him at that same time, and apparently the club were kind of interested as well. So yeah, they're scouted down there. It's great. And yeah, he's now become some crazy, crazy good player. Not that he wasn't before; he was always good. But yeah, I hope he does go to Barcelona. I hope he gets trophies behind him. I really hope he does. Isak will come good. He's prem proven already. I just think with Isak, it's the pressure of the hefty price tag. I think people were laughing at Grealish, not realizing it's difficult. When you've got that monkey on your back, basically saying you cost this much, you need to play. The pressure of that is crushing sometimes, and I think Grealish struggled with it. Now he's gone to Everton, and Everton didn't pay that money for him. The pressure's loosened up a little bit, and I think, yeah, I think he's playing with a bit more, um, less pressure now, and I think that's why we're seeing a better Jack Grealish. Not that Jack Grealish wasn't great when he first came in, because I think actually that treble season he was very good for us, and part of the reason we actually won the treble. So I have to give him his ratings for that. But I do think the pressure of playing under that price tag did get to him at times. So Isak just needs to get past that. He needs to push through it, try and get a couple of goals here and there. And then once he starts scoring, I think he'll be fine. A lot of Newcastle fans that did watch him week in, week out said he does go missing in some games. To be fair, he didn't do too much against Man City previously. The times we played Newcastle, I have to say. But yeah, I think he'll get there. I just think the limitations that he had, which was injuries, and he's not present in every single game, you don't have nowhere to hide at Liverpool. You can hide against Newcastle, because if Newcastle play, a team that kind of the same level as them, I'd say, and you lose, people will just say, oh, Newcastle lost this weekend. When it's Liverpool, it's going to be gone through with a fine tooth comb. So, yeah, he's not going to be able to hide in any sort of games. He's going to have to step up when they need him. He's going to have to start scoring goals. He's going to have to start scoring winners, these sorts of things, because, Haaland gets slated for his final record, which is crazy. This is Haaland, and he still gets slated. So if Haaland can get slated, Isak's going to get slated. So, yeah, he just needs to know that that's going to happen. But, yeah, City could bury PSG, you sell hopes, but that last half hour in Paris was mad. Oh, I know. I don't know what we would do. We were 2-0 up. But that was the story last season. We'd go 2-0 up and we'd bottle it. I don't know what was going on. Just every time it just felt inevitable that, we'd have to score 4 goals to make you confident of a win. It's absolutely crazy. Yanni's the OG fan. She knows about Prime Falcao. Fair play. He was wavy Atletico Madrid. Honestly, I loved that Atletico Madrid because I was at uni at the time, I think, and I just used to watch La Liga in my room when I came home. Like, oh, I don't have that time anymore. But yeah, I used to love. Obviously, I used to go to City as well, but yeah, they were like my second team. But I can't say I've watched them anytime recently if they're not playing in the Champions League. Admit it on camera, Jan. Kane is insane and it rhymes too. My issue with Kane was that, he had his chances to win trophies and he didn't win them. To be fair to him, he's doing it at Bayern Munich. But yeah, for me, like, Son did what Kane didn't. And that's all I have to say on that one. But yeah, he insane goal scorer, like, one of the best strikers. But if you're one of the best strikers, he should have been doing what Son did. He should have been winning a trophy for Tottenham. And I'm not saying win the Prem. No, I'm just saying, you played in a Carabao Cup against Man City. City didn't really get out of second gear. And, Aymeric Laporte was the one that brought that trophy home. Are you telling me Laporte is better than him? I don't think so. So yeah, he should have won that. He should have won that trophy. For them. I get you, the Haaland. Yeah, I know that's the problem though. It's like when people get compared to to Rodri, and you feel like you're dissing the player. It's like, I'm not dissing your player. It's just Rodri is the best. So when you're comparing your player to the best, they need to be very, 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 very good to be compared to Rodri. And even then, they're probably going to lose. So it's just one of them. Nathan says, I wouldn't say Isak is better, but for his feats at Newcastle in front of goal, I was saying he's top 3 forward in the league. Saying Haaland number 1, Salah 2, Isak 3. Do you know what? To be fair, if you're talking about forwards in the league, he probably is still, to be fair. Because Marmoush hasn't really started yet, I would say, because injuries and Haaland being Haaland and stuff like that. You've got who else? United, their strikers weren't doing it before. Obviously, they've got new players in, so they've not started yet. You've got Arsenal have got Gyökeres, he's new, so there's him. But yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I wouldn't disagree with that. Maybe by the end of the season, Gyökeres might have just blown everyone out the water. I don't know. But for now, I'd have to agree with that. Haaland, I do like Ekitike though, I will say that. I do like Ekitike. And he has hit the ground running. Haaland scores goals better than anyone else in the league. Let me not sound like a City fan too much though. Now I bring it to you. Yeah, Haaland, he's undeniable at this point. Everyone that was hating on Haaland, like, they've ended up, eating their words. So there's that. Aguero always got. Aguero loved Chelsea, man. He loved Chelsea. That 6-0 was on my birthday. Bloody brilliant. But yeah, and De Bruyne loved Chelsea and loved Arsenal. He loved loved Arsenal as in he scored against Arsenal, but he must have hated Arsenal. I don't know where that hate came from, but he literally hated Arsenal. Oh, I don't know what it was, but we miss him in them games. We miss him. Yeah, Isak is skinny, but I think that's I think it's edited the well, it is edited the picture that people keep posting of him. But yeah, he's got that build though. He's East African, he's got that East African build. Jan, would you rather prime KDB or prime David Silva? Oh my God, that's like choosing between which kid do you like better? Do you know what? I love David Silva, one of the best I've ever seen. Just the stuff he could do with a football was unreal. De Bruyne, same thing. The only thing I would say on De Bruyne, and it's probably due to when David Silva joined more than anything else, he got us over the line in the Champions League. And I feel like when he was there, it's probably to do with Pep as well. David Silva is a bit unfortunate to not play under Pep for long. Did he play under Pep? Yeah, maybe briefly, not very long. But yeah, as a player, David Silva probably the best we've seen. But yeah, it's like choosing between your children. De Bruyne as well, probably statistically in terms of what he won, our best ever, well, our most successful player, I would say. So yeah, it's a toss up between two. But City fans, if you ask City fans in the stadium, David Silva's winning that all day. But I do have to give respect to De Bruyne because he got us over the line in the Champions League. So for that, I do think, yeah, I do think we need to do that. Yeah, no, he did play under Pep. Sorry, I don't know why I said that, but yeah, Pep. But he was on his way out. He was at the end of his career. What prime David Silva didn't play under Pep is what I'm saying. But yeah, prime David Silva. He was probably under Pellegrini. I'd say that was probably prime David Silva. He was always brilliant when he was at City. When he came in, he was close to his prime anyway under Mancini. But yeah, Mancini Pellegrini times were more prime David Silva. David Silva under Pep was the older David Silva. Kind of, even though when he went bald that time, that's we were seeing some crazy stuff from David Silva then. So yeah, I think David Silva was pretty much always prime, to be fair. But yeah, he's more on his way out towards the end of, he was prime at the start of Pep's career, and Pep wasn't prime Pep in terms of at City until kind of crossed over a little bit. So yeah, there's that. Yaya Toure, another one that unfortunately played his best years before Pep, I'd have to say. And it's a shame because if they were playing in this team now, like Yaya Toure, crazy players. This is legends we're talking about this. We're comparing legends now. Yaya, love Yaya. What I loved about Yaya is he could win a game on his own. If you were struggling, Wembley springs to mind first of all for me. He just used to run through the whole team and score. Like, we don't have players that can do that anymore. De Bruyne could do it at times, to be fair. But yeah, we don't have, not in the way that Yaya Toure used to do it, just different level of player. But I do think, again, he was kind of, I'd say I don't really know with primes because it's always one of them, but I do think sort of when he came, he was absolutely brilliant. And then by the time Pep came, he was kind of walking around the pitch. Just didn't have the same fitness levels that he had before. Still a brilliant player, but not the prime City Yaya Toure. So yeah, I feel like it's a shame because as much as I love Mancini and I love Pellegrini, I do think in a way that it would have been nice for them to play under Pep. And I think if that team played under Pep, they would have won like a Champions League, which I think players like David Silva, Aguero, they deserve the Champions League. Like for what they were doing consistently, they deserve that. And it's just a shame that he didn't come earlier. Instead of going to Bayern, maybe if he came straight from Barcelona to City, then they would have got that. And I do think it's a shame. I really do think it's a shame. So yeah. Just checked. Modric is actually older than Silva, you know. When is Modric gonna retire? Yeah, I think with David Silva, you know, he went obviously back to Spain. And then I don't know. Some players play longer than others. I think Modric has always felt that he's fit enough to carry on. De Bruyne, I think, would play till he's older, but with him, it's just keep him fit. Can he stay fit? So far at Napoli, the league's a little bit slower. You know, I think he's being treated as the age that he is. So yeah, maybe that's why Modric's gone there too. That just to kind of go into their retirement there. But I'm happy for De Bruyne. He's doing well. I'm happy for him. I would have kept him one more year if I was City personally, but yeah, I think we'll have to see what happens with him. I don't think he'll play as long as Modric because he's not as fit as Modric was. So yeah, maybe this year, the end of this season, maybe they both retire. De Bruyne's not actually that old, so it just depends on how he's feeling, fitness wise, whether they want to extend him. I think he's got a 2-year deal, so the end of next season, sorry. And then we'll have to see. But I do think De Bruyne goes into some sort of managing or coaching. I do think that, you know, he's very vocal on the pitch. If you've ever watched City, he's always, you know, directing, giving advice to teammates, etc. I think even Pep took advice from him. So yeah, I see him going into that. I don't know about Modric. I haven't really seen too much of him outside of the football pitch to know whether he might as well. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. How about this? Who was the better City manager, Mancini or Pellegrini? Mancini for me. The only thing I would say about Mancini is Mancini was very Italian in that he was very emotional. So there was a lot of kind of fallouts when he was there. You know, I heard that if Mancini lost the game, he would go home. He wouldn't go into the changing room to speak to the players, he wouldn't address them. He'd just get in his car and go home. I don't think that's great when you're a manager. I feel like when you're a manager, you need to be there when it's good and be there when it's bad. And I think you have to sort of debrief. And I'm pretty sure Pep will have them in there even longer after a loss than after a win to kind of go through what went wrong, what they could do next time, etc., etc. So yeah, if you're talking about the better manager, then it probably is Pellegrini in terms of being a manager. But for me as a City fan, Mancini got us over the line. So I'm gonna love Mancini. And even Pellegrini, who won a double in his first season, the Carabao Cup and the Prem, that was Mancini's team that he had. And the players that Mancini brought in, like look at the players that he brought in, you know. For me, has to be Mancini. But Pellegrini was a great manager. I felt a bit sorry for Pellegrini because, you know, they kind of identified they wanted Pep, and they kind of told him early in the halfway through the season, and then it's almost like the players didn't want to play for him after that. So yeah, it was a bit harsh the way it happened, but obviously I wouldn't ever turn down an opportunity to get Pep. Maybe if Pellegrini played longer, we might have seen him get better or get worse. I don't know. But yeah, I think with Mancini as well, he lost the dressing room at the end. I don't know. Well, I'm sure you remember the FA Cup final against Wigan. I've never seen a team try not to play like that game. It was almost like they were trying to get him sacked because Yaya Toure, someone that I've mentioned that would run through teams and take the game into his own hand at Wembley. He'd done it against Stoke. He did it against Man United. He did it countless times. That game, it was almost like he was running, turning and passing back. And I thought, that's not the Yaya that I know. And the only player that I would say in that game actually really tried to win that game was Eddie Dzeko when he came on. I think Eddie Dzeko was trying, you could see he was trying to win. But the rest of the team, it looked like they'd decided they weren't gonna win that game. So yeah, it became toxic at the end. But I love Mancini. He's always going to be that guy that brought us our first Premier League, you know. So it's a bit of bias from me, to be fair. Pellegrini was a lot more calm and collected, the better manager in terms of how he dealt with the players, etc., etc. But yeah, I think just overall the players and what he won has to be Mancini for me. Where do you rank Dzeko and Balotelli? I think Dzeko is definitely very underrated by a lot of football fans in general. Like his longevity, like how long he actually ended up playing for, and how many goals he scored, like it's crazy. Dzeko's another one that used to be able to, score how many goals in a game, like just brilliant. To be fair, Dzeko used to frustrate me when he was at City. He used to frustrate the life out of me. But it's almost like with him, sometimes he was so late into the box that he was on time. And I don't know if that sounds crazy, but yeah, like even, like got some goals that he scored, it's kind of like, when like the ball's played in and it misses everyone. Dzeko will be there to put that away. I love that about him in a way, but he used to frustrate me like mad when he was playing for City, but brilliant at the same time. And Dzeko, to be fair, is the only goal that I've not celebrated in my whole time at City. I did not celebrate that goal, and this goal goes under the radar so much, but it's why we won our first title. Actually, both of them players are the reason why we won our Aguero game, that game against QPR. Dzeko scored the equaliser, the header from the corner. I didn't celebrate because I was fuming. Because in my opinion, I was like, if we draw this game, it's worse. Because not only have we given the title to Man United, but we've then not even lost the game. So it's a case of we were that close and we didn't do it. And I was fuming. And I remember my dad was next to me because I used to sit in the second tier when we scored that goal on the side that Aguero scored actually. And my dad was celebrating and I was like, we fucked it up because at City, if you've ever been to the Etihad, they don't have the time left. Like, so they'll have like the minutes of the match, but once it gets to 90, it doesn't show any plus time. So as obviously every minute in a game like that feels like a long time. So I just didn't know how long we had left. So when Dzeko scored, I thought they're going to blow the whistle in a minute. So I was fuming because I'm like, we've just drawn a game that we should have won against QPR, who had just about stayed up. And I just thought, we've absolutely bottled it. Because we were 1-0 up as well in that game. And I was fuming. And my dad was like, we've got time. And I was like, we do not have time. And the next minute, Balotelli slips his first and only assist, by the way, for Man City. And he slipped past it. And the minute Aguero took the ball, like, I'm not one to celebrate before the ball's in the back of the net because I've seen some crazy shots that have not gone in, etc., some ridiculous saves, etc. And I literally was like, I celebrated the minute it hit. He jumped over that guy and like took the shot. I celebrated. Like, I don't remember the next 2 minutes of my life. Don't remember it. I remember some ginger guy appearing from somewhere and kissing me. I've never seen that guy before. I've never seen that guy after. But yeah, some random guy. And yeah, I don't remember them 2 minutes. I don't know what Aguero was doing till after when he was taking his shirt off and spinning it round. Like, that was the craziest day of my life. Also the best day of my life. I don't think it'll be topped. And I say this as someone that was at Istanbul. Um, but yeah, just the first was the best. I think with the treble it was weird because I celebrated at full time the Champions League final, and then I clocked we've just won a treble. So it was like, yeah, that was kind of mad too, to be fair. But I think Istanbul, I think going home after the game kind of ruined that day because like it was just to get out of that stadium, honestly, it was hell. It was hell. Like, I don't know why they held the Champions League final there. Um, it wasn't good. It was not good. It took me ages to get back to my hotel after that game. it kind of took a little bit of a shine off it. I probably should have gone back with the City fans and gone partying with them, but I didn't. I just went back to my hotel. The same happened with the Aguero. I went back to my house, and I remember my auntie came round. She'd bought like a Man City cake from Marks and Spencer's, and she came round to celebrate, my dad's sister. But yeah, like that was it. I've not really ever really celebrated with the City fans, which was a shame, really. But yeah, I don't know. Yes, Prime, I'm back after 4 years. It's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, big times, big moments. I'm just so happy that I got to be there to see it, because not every fan has been there to see their team win things. And I'm so blessed to have literally seen us win everything. I haven't been there every game. I don't go away very often, mainly because I only started going to City when I was 12 or 13, about 2003, 2004, when I started going to City. And we never used to go away because my dad never used to go away. So I just went home, 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 home. So when everyone else was going home away, building up their points, I wasn't doing that. Then Man City, because they like to screw me over, brought out, when I turned 26, they brought out the 18 to 25, which means that fans who are 18 to 25 have a window to go away. I never got that because I was 26 when they decided to bring it in. So yeah, kind of been like a bit unlucky when it comes to City tickets. So now I don't have anywhere near as many points. For anyone that knows, you get 40 points for an away game, which is not true anymore, but you used to, and 20 points for a home game. And I think I have like 17,000 points or something, which is not enough. To go away, you need 20,000 points. So yeah, I've been going for probably 20 years. It's not enough, so that sets it all. The City fans that are away games, unless they're with supporters clubs, they've been going a hell of a long time. I'll give them that. So I don't really complain. My dad's been going 60 years. Even he doesn't have that many points because he never used to go away. And they refreshed it when we moved to the city's new stadium. So it's a shame, really, because if they went back all time, my dad would have more points than most people, and I'd be able to go, just get him to get me a ticket. But it doesn't work like that, which is a shame, but oh well. Yeah, do you know what? It's weird. I've never watched that game back fully. Never watched it back fully. I've seen like the moments of when Aguero scored, stuff like that. I don't know. Like it's weird. It's weird with me because like when they had that Man City documentary, I never used to be able to watch it. Like I don't know, it just made me really emotional. I don't know why. It's really strange because I'm not like the most emotional person. But when it comes to City, it's quite an emotional thing. So yeah, Pellegrini had the best squad a few years and let Leicester win it that year. He did get to a UCL semis though. That's true. That's true. I do think with City, like we used to be very inconsistent with the league. It's only really Pep that's brought us consistency where we're expected to win it. And also City and Chelsea, for some reason, are never good at the same time in the league. We don't tend to ever be in a title race. So yeah, I don't know what it is. It seems to be when Chelsea are good, City not so much, and vice versa. So maybe if City fall off, Chelsea will go back to win the league. Who knows? Um, but yeah, should have just lied about my age. Everyone knows I'm old as hell. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows. But yeah, it's been a good stream. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. I'll probably jump off in about 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm actually happy to be back. It's been so long. I'm so not used to this. And when I have jumped on, it's been on other people's streams, so it's a little bit different. I'm definitely not 24, I'm 34. But it's good though. It's good because I grew up in the 90s when City were like not the team to support. And I went to school in Stockport, so even though everyone says Stockport's full of City fans, it was not full of City fans in the 90s. Like everyone was United. In my primary school, the most popular guy was a Liverpool fan because his dad was Scouse. So he was a Liverpool fan. So there was a few that kind of jumped on the bandwagon with him and were Liverpool. There's a few that were City, and a few that were United. But United was like the norm because they were good. So everyone kind of supported the team that they didn't get bullied for supporting. So Man United were like the big team that everyone supported. Um, and yeah, and then it was just like being a City fan was hell. Like you used to get bullied for that shit. Um, so yeah, it wasn't easy, but to be fair, I'm glad that it happened the way it did because for anyone that doesn't know or that's watching this wherever, my dad is City, been City since he was a child. So he's been going 61 years this year, I think. Yeah, so he grew up in my side, so basically he used to go to school and at lunchtime he'd get some chips and go and watch the Man City players train. So he was doing that from young, but it wasn't like football now where these players are like superstars and no, you could just go up and like watch them play. Um, one of my dad's cousins played for Man United, but they were a bit Man United don't have the best history when it comes to being black. So obviously my dad's cousin was black and he got injured playing football with my dad and my dad carried him to Man City's like medical team and apparently Man United wouldn't give him treatment because he was black. It was weird, but yeah, my dad ended up carrying him there. And I think he was running and the Man City manager at the time asked him, can you play football? And my dad was like, no, I play rugby. It's like, okay. So I don't know why you wouldn't just say yeah to get a move. I don't know. But he didn't. But yeah, my dad's got some crazy stories actually from back in the day. And back then it was different. So you would go to Man City and Man United. So it wasn't like, even though you were a Man City fan, you would still go and watch Man United because it was something to do. It was entertainment. So my dad has been to a lot of Man United games despite being a City fan. It's not like now where I would never go to Old Trafford. He would go. So like, the testimonials for big players like Bobby Charlton, George Best. My dad's been to them. He's been to a lot of them sort of games. Not when he was too young, because when he was a child, they didn't really like black people to go to Old Trafford, so you wouldn't really go if you were black. But when he was a bit older, he then went to these sort of games. So yeah, it was very different back then. So he's been City through and through. My mum is Scouse, she's from Liverpool, so she was a Liverpool fan. My nan is a Liverpool fan. Apparently she liked Liddell, one of their players. It's called Liddell back in the day. She used to like him, so she became a Liverpool fan for that reason. My granddad is Everton, or was Everton, I should say. His dad was home and away Everton back in the day. So my granddad's first game was in 1935, around the time Dixie Dean was a player, and my granddad's dad brought him back like a massive cardboard cutout of Dixie Dean when he was like a child. I think he was 4 when he went to his first game. And his dad was at that Wembley final, Everton against Man City, back in the early 1900s. So yeah, it kind of runs in my family to be into football a little bit. My grandparents used to go on dates to Wembley because obviously what my dad would wear a red dress because she was Liverpool. My granddad would wear a blue suit because he was Everton. So yeah, it's quite cute. I love football history. Yeah, I just love it all. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. So I had a choice when I was a kid. It was City or Liverpool. I picked City. I liked blue. And I used to watch City on TV because I used to see if I could see my dad. Because all my life, my dad's been going to City. So I was born in London and we would drive to Manchester every other week to watch Man City. Well, my dad would go and watch Man City, so we'd drop him off. Um, yeah, so literally I've been going from London to Manchester to watch City my whole life, essentially. So yeah, it's weird. And then we moved to Manchester when I was a baby anyway. So moved back to Manchester, I should say. But yeah, and then I supported City. We were terrible. I could have easily been like, oh, I'm a Liverpool fan because my mum supports Liverpool. Never was interested in that. And yeah, I started going before we were good. To be fair, when we started getting good wasn't that long after. And when I say getting good, I don't mean like the good that City are now. I mean like Thaksin Shinawatra time where we had a good, decent players, Alano, all of them sort of players that I loved. Sean Wright Phillips, loved him, even Sean Goater, loved him. Like we used to get all United's rejects as well. Like your Schmeichels and, Arsenal's rejects and Seaman. Not rejects as such, but the older players that they kind of done with. We used to get them. But yeah, like it was my football memory is not great, so I can't tell you the first game I went to or anything like that. But yeah, we started getting a bit better, then a bit better. I remember Ronaldo got sent off at the Etihad. I remember that. That was not that long after I'd been going. Like I say, I didn't start going till about 2003, 4. So yeah, before that I'd just watch us on TV. Yeah, I'd just watch us there, watch us occasionally, see if I could see my dad on TV, and that's when I got into watching football. But yeah, we weren't encouraged to be football. Like that was my dad's time away from the kids, so he did not encourage us to like football or anything like that. Some people's dads, they're there like, come on, I want my daughter. My dad was not like that. It was, I'm going to, Main Road, leave me alone sort of thing. So yeah, it took me a little bit longer than some people. I wish I was one of them kids that went as a small child, but yeah, it was not the case. But yeah, and then I've seen everything now, so it's crazy. It's really crazy because if you'd have asked me like in the 90s, like, will City ever win anything? I would have snapped your hand off for like a Carabao Cup, do you know what I mean? Or a League Cup. Um, Carling Cup, whatever they called it back then. But yeah, like it's crazy. It's just crazy how you can go from that to like being, winning everything and seeing everything. It's kind of crazy. And I think City fans deserve it. Like a lot of people, they'll come in here like, oh, these new City fans. Yeah, we know, like you can tell there's new, and when you are successful, you get new fans. If Man United weren't successful in the 90s, then they wouldn't have half the fans they have now. It happens. But there are fans that have been there through the thick and thin. Some people, I mean, I was 20 when we won our first trophy, and that was the FA Cup. Some fans were 30, 35, 45 because there was a 44-year trophy drought. And even if you're like 50, you were only a small child when City were winning. So, there's a lot of City fans out there who have been going, and like I say, away games, I don't get a ticket. And I've been going 20 years. So these fans have been going a long, long time, way before the success. And yeah, they deserve it, they deserve to see it. And I hope anyone that, hasn't seen their team win something, they get to experience that because, it is the best day of my life when Aguero scored that goal. Do you know what I mean? There's no, people can talk about like, oh, having a baby or getting married. No, I'm sorry. Having a baby is not going to be the best day of my life because I'm going to be in agony. Maybe as a man, you can say that. As a woman, absolutely not. The day I'm giving birth is not going to be the best day of my life. The moment I see the child might be the best moment of my life. But that's not going to be the best day when I've just given birth and I'm in agony. Absolutely not. And I really want kids, but yeah, that's not going to be the best the best day. It might be the best moment, not the best day. Um, who is winning the Champions League this season? I actually don't know. I don't think we'll win the Champions League. I don't know. I think we could end up with a winner that is unexpected this year. I actually couldn't tell you right now. Why are you back streaming? Do you know what? It's just been so long and I'm seeing like, I'm watching people's streams and I'm like, why do I not stream? Like, I do enjoy it. Big up your dad, that's next level commitment. Do you know what? It is, to be fair, like not everyone, and we couldn't always afford it when we were kids. My dad had three girls for a long time and then my brother came along. We didn't always have money. We bought a house that needed doing up. We did a lot of work to that house. So he couldn't always afford it, but he always went, and he got a season ticket when he could. But yeah, it was always growing up, that was his thing. And my dad used to work away a lot. He used to live in Aberdeen. He lived in Norway, lived all over Amsterdam. So he didn't always go. Uh, but yeah, most of the time he would. Even when he lived in France recently, uh, he kept his season ticket and stuff like that. So there's that. Donnarumma had a lot of saves to make in both legs versus Arsenal. You need luck to win the Champions League. That is true. You do need some luck, and you need to take your chances, and make minimal mistakes. And I think the team for City that won the Champions League, they locked in at the same time. We need that. You need the defense, the attack, the midfield, the goalkeeper to all lock in at once. And that's why we won it. But before that, there was always an issue. It was always the goalkeeper, or, the defense wasn't good enough, or the strikers were missing chances. And yeah, you need all of it to kind of click. But yeah, Dixie Dean, big up to Dixie Dean. His numbers are crazy, crazy, crazy numbers. At least your choice is a pilgrim of regret. To be fair, even if we'd never won anything, I would have always been a City fan. Like, for me, I like the underdog aspect. Do you know what I mean? I did like that. I think football before and after we got good are two different types of experiences. Before we were good, it was kind of about going there, having a laugh. Now there's a lot more pressure. Like, don't get me wrong, the people I sit with at City now are absolutely jokes. Like, we are there laughing for a lot of the game. Like, I love them people. There's a girl who sits near me, and she's always joking about Doku. Like, she fancies Doku, this African girl. And it's just, yeah, she gives me joke. The guy that sits next to my dad, he gives me joke. Like, yeah, we have a good time. We do have a good time. But yeah, I don't really have friends at football. Like, I know these people on match day, but outside of match day, I don't really. Most of my friends don't support City, so it is kind of like, even when I go away, I go on my own. So yeah, I don't really have like what some City fans have, where they've got a big community of, like, I don't have that, unfortunately. But yeah, it's good. It's always a good time. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. There's no way I could support like a Man United. Just yeah, the mentality of the fans, like the way the people are. I don't think I could do it. Yeah, it's very interesting because there was someone on Twitter the other day. They were talking to Mons, and they were saying like, "Oh, I don't know how you're black and a Liverpool fan." And don't get me wrong, Liverpool have had their issues as well. My mum used to get racially abused. Bear in mind, my mum is white. So there's that. Um, but yeah, them days were just different, it's different. I think even now, like, my sister lived opposite Man United's ground about 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. And, her husband, who's Ghanaian, used to get like racial abuse, even, probably 12 years ago now. He used to get that then. So around that area is a little bit, it's questionable sometimes, Salford, parts of Salford. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, based on form, ranked these three forwards from 1 to 3: Mbappe, Kane, and Haaland. Do you know what? They're the three probably most in form strikers at the moment, to be fair. So that's difficult. I think Kane has the most goals out of the three, and Bayern are absolutely flying. They're flying. So yeah, Mbappe, he's just lost his streak. He was on 11 like Haaland. Haaland's gone on to 12. He's stayed on 11, but he's in great form. Haaland, 12 goals, um, all comps, crazy. I would say this is a different version of Haaland. Like, Haaland has actually scored more for City in the other 2 seasons he's been here than he has at this stage. But Haaland at the moment looks inevitable. Like, he just looks so good. Like, so, so good. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Haaland. But Kane is up there too. I think Bayern are flying, so it's hard to look past Kane in terms of like where they are in the league and the Champions League. Obviously, they're like top of both. I know PSG are above, but they've got the same goal difference, same wins, so technically they're joint top. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. I'd say between Haaland and Kane for number one, and Mbappe number three. But it's not that he's not good. It's just that them two are just moving crazy at the moment. But yeah, maybe we can ask this on my next stream because it might be a little bit different then. But I think Kane scored more goals than Haaland, if I'm not mistaken. What did you say? Yeah, do you miss Alvarez? I do. I loved Alvarez. He was like the Aguero region, so I do miss him. I don't think our squad miss him too much because a player like that wants to play every week, and it's hard when you have Haaland. So I think a Marmoush, who I love Marmoush as well, he's a little bit more likely to kind of wait for his turn than at Alvarez, because Alvarez knew how good he was. Not that Marmoush doesn't know he's good, but I just think, yeah, I think with him, like he just was a little bit more impatient than like a Marmoush is. So yeah, we'll see. Um, but yeah, I think Alvarez should go to Barcelona. I think that should be his move. I would take him back tomorrow though. If he said he wanted to come back, I'd take him back. You can't look at a player like Alvarez and turn him down. Um, yeah, do you know what? Mbappe, I haven't watched too much of him to be fair this season, so that's probably another reason why I've ranked him third. I haven't really watched Kane. I've just seen that he's every minute Kane's scoring and breaking records and everything like that. So that's the only reason why. But yeah, I think with Mbappe, like when he joined, he also had like the Isak thing where the price tag was on his head. I know he didn't cost as much as he could have done, but it was kind of like he's coming on big money. And it was like he's expected to be the best player in the world. So I think the pressure of that was kind of on his back. And I do think Liverpool fans put more pressure on Isak by saying he's better than Haaland. I think if they'd have just kind of left him to it, he might have been able to prove that he is better than Haaland. I don't personally think he would have done it, but he would have been able to prove it, put it that way. Whereas I think now the pressure on him is too much because now he's needing to be Haaland level when it's impossible to kind of get to that level. You know, only Kane and Mbappe are on that level right now, which says it all. So yeah, it's more pressure. I think Mbappe was under immense pressure because he wanted to go there for so long and it was going to happen for so long. I personally think Mbappe went a year too late. I think he should have gone a year before. And I think that kind of put more pressure on him. But yeah, now I think he's settled in now. You should be seeing the best of Mbappe right now. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This is true, Calvin. This sort of saying all three of them. It's like you're comparing the most on form three strikers at the moment. Yeah, I don't think when I'm saying 1, 2, and 3, there's no real difference between them. Do you know what I mean? Like the only thing I would say about Mbappe is he finished his streak on 11, which is crazy, 11 consecutive games. So, but then he might score in the next 10. Maybe Haaland doesn't. Maybe Kane doesn't. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know if Kane has that streak. I'm not sure. I don't think he has. I don't think he does. In all comps, but yeah, he's still scoring crazy amount of goals. Um, I haven't watched Bayern, to be fair. Like most of the time, I could just about watch City. I will watch like a big game if I'm available, but a lot of the time, like my flight falls at the same time. I have a season ticket at City, but I've missed how many games has it been? Like 5 games, and I've missed like 3 already, which says it all. 1 second, I'm still here. But yeah, I think like I've missed quite a few, so it's not going too well. I have tried to watch them. One of them, the derby, I was actually in London, but I had a flight that evening, so I watched the game, but I wasn't able to be at the Etihad because I wouldn't have got back to London in time for my flight. So yeah, there's that. It's not great. I'm gonna go to the next two at home, but then I can't go to Liverpool because I took the day off for the Liverpool game, and then my lovely club decided to move the game to the Sunday, so now I can't go. So yeah, so I'm missing quite a few big games, which I'm not happy about. I didn't see Spurs. No, I did go to Spurs. I think I went to Spurs. But yeah, a lot of the big games I'm kind of missing at the moment, which isn't great. But yeah, luckily my little cousin, who's a massive City fan, he loves going, and to be fair, we've got quite a good record when he goes, so I'm happy for him to go. But yeah, can Barca afford Barca, I should say, afford Alvarez though? Are they still in the red zone? They are forever in debt, but they still buy players. They still owe us for Ferran Torres. I do think with Alvarez though, if the player wants the move, it just depends on what they can negotiate between Atletico Madrid, because Atletico might say he's not going to you, and then he might have to kind of go elsewhere. I don't know, but I think in an ideal world he goes there. Can they afford him? I'm not so sure. They definitely can't afford Haaland. I don't know why their fans are obsessed with getting Haaland. You know what? They could sign Alvarez and give us Yamal. How about that? That sounds like a good deal. We'll give them the money for Alvarez and then give us Yamal. That's cool. I'm joking, by the way, if there's any Barcelona fans. He still scored over 40, but his dribbling wasn't as good as it should be. Yeah, well, a player like that's always going to score goals. I think Haaland's improved, even though he scores a lot of goals beforehand. He's improved this season. He just looks more. He's doing a lot more all over the pitch. I don't think Isak is demanding a move himself either, as he didn't train much. Don't think Isak in demanding a move helped himself either, as he didn't train much, but class permanent and he'll show his worth. Yeah. I think he just left it in a position where he had to leave. Because at first I was like, Newcastle are not going to sell. But then it got to the point where it's like they have to sell now, because you can't keep a player like that that's unhappy. It's just not going to work in your favour. So they had to sell him. So yeah, I think I didn't know at the time that the club had agreed that he could go. I think that was part of the problem, because everyone kind of thought, well, Newcastle are not going to sell. But Newcastle had told him that they were going to sell him. So I think that's what they should have done. If I worked for Newcastle, what I would have done is I would have said, you know what? We see that you do well. You want to move to a different club. That's fine. You can't move anywhere in the Prem. Do you know what I mean? Because I think another club would have come for him outside of England. He could have moved there, or even if they said you can move to the Prem, they should have tied him down to a longer contract, so they have to pay even more money, which, to be fair, they did say the whole time, put the money on the table. Liverpool did put the money on the table in the end, so they got him. So, to be fair, they did kind of get what they wanted. They got a decent amount of money for him. What I would say is this market at the moment, basic players are going for 80 mil. So, years ago, 80 mil would have got you a Ronaldo. 80 million now is getting you a standard player who's a squad player for their team. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a lot that's changed within football, even since I've been streaming 4 years ago. One of them things, as I've been saying, is, I think players that are young now, they're not willing to wait it out. Years ago, if you had an academy player, they would sit on the bench and wait for their turn and this, that, and the other, and just get 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. They would be happy to be there. Whereas now, I don't think that happens. I feel like players that are young, they've come through the academy, they want to play, they see their friends playing, for other teams, they see people their age playing, and they think, well, I should be playing too. Like they'll see Yamal playing and think, well, Yamal's young, so why am I not playing? And they're just not as willing to kind of be a secondary option anymore. And it's hard because you get these players, you want a good team. You need a good team. You need a team that when a player goes off, you can bring a like for like off the bench. You know, we were very, very lucky to have the likes of Mahrez on the bench for years. You know, Mahrez used to sit on the bench. He would just wait, wait, and wait, and then he'd come on, he'd do his thing. He was as good as like he'd been, you know, playing every game, play a couple of games, then he'd sit on the bench again. You know, we had Sane, we had Sterling, we had so many players that could come in and out and do a job for us. You wouldn't have that now. If you had that team now, a Mahrez would be unhappy and want to leave, or a Sane or a Sterling, one of the three would want to leave because they'd be like, it's not fair, I'm not playing every week. So I think it's changed in that, and it becomes harder to have a good squad because you've got players. You know, our bench at the moment looks crazy, but when all these players are fit and ready and starting, they're not going to want to be dropped. So it's kind of like we're at a point in football where your backup options are kind of a drop off, because if they're not, you know, it's like Nico Gonzalez. Nico Gonzalez has been brilliant, played really well when he's played. But if Rodri comes back and wants to play every game, Nico's going to be thinking, well, you know, I'm too good to be sat on a bench. So he's probably going to want to leave. I'm hoping, because Rodri's the age that he is, and Nico is the age that he is, that they kind of just play next to each other until, you know, Rodri's ready to leave or Rodri can't play as many games. And then I think Pep will use both of them just because we need, you know, to prepare for Rodri being in and out, which obviously after an ACL at his age, that's expected. So we are going to need Nico Gonzalez, even if Rodri comes back and he's fully fit. We're still going to need him, but it's just balancing them to keep both of them happy, you know, so one doesn't decide, oh, I'm going to go. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. It's hard to keep people happy nowadays. That's one thing I would say. Kane, Haaland are also pure number nines. That is true. That is true. Young people lie about watching every league like they have 6 TVs on. That is true as well. That's what I say. I don't claim to have watched teams that haven't watched. You know what I mean? I see bits of obviously every team, but yeah, I don't claim to have watched people the way other people claim to have watched, you know. Even players, like, I don't claim, you know, when City get linked with someone, I'm not like, oh my God, I watched them and this, that, and the other. No, like, I really haven't. So yeah, we just have to see. Normally, and you could get a player who is, and I say this a lot about compatibility for teams, because you can find a player who is absolutely world class at one team and then he joins another team and he's just not that same player. And you're thinking, where's this player gone? And there's a lot of things that go into that. Compatibility with the new team, you know, whether they're happy living there in that area or whatever. If they get on with everyone, you know, like, you're always going to be at your best when you're happiest. So could be personal things they're going through in life, like events, you know, people dying, stuff like that. Anything can lead to a player being good or not so good. And yeah, sometimes I think you just need to get that move that clicks, that you click with. And I think, you know, we've seen it a lot of times in football where a player will go somewhere and they're just unreal compared to how they were at their old team. And it's not really anything against that old team or for the new team. It just happens. And I think when players get that and they're happy, I think that's why you see people tie down contracts for long periods of time when they're happy and they know, you know, I want to stay here a long time. I'm happy and very blessed that Haaland has decided to do that at City. You know, people talk about he could still leave. He could still leave. It could happen. Anything can happen. Anything can change. City could fall off a cliff and he could say, you know what, I'm the best striker in the world. I need to be somewhere that's winning. He could do that. But then Haaland's also that sort of person who would probably stay anyway. I just feel like he's one of them. I feel like he would. But it could happen. He could leave. But if he does leave, it's going to cost the team that buy him an absolute arm and a leg. So it's very unlikely. You don't sign a 10-year contract if you have any intention of leaving. So there's that. But yeah, we'll see. I watch Bayern if they play on Friday nights or UCL nights sometimes. Yeah, I don't really have time to watch anyone, unfortunately. Welterman is looking like solid replacement for Isak though. He's tall but technically looks good and his hold up play isn't too shabby either. I agree. He's looked really good since he's come in actually. I think Newcastle's recruitment's quite good though. They kind of get players who are a little bit under the radar. Obviously, Welterman costs quite a lot of money. Actually, no, it was the other guy that they brought in that cost more actually. But yeah, he looks good. He's settled in well, and they've got Wissa, however you say it. He's coming back too, as well when he comes back from injury. So they'll have two of them. So yeah, I think Newcastle will be fine. You play similar time as the Clasico weekend. Yeah, I mean, where am I going to be this weekend? What time are we playing? Let's have a look. Because I can guarantee I probably won't be able to watch this game either. Let's see where I'm at. So we play at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Let me see where I am at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Because I don't think I'll be watching that game. 1 second. I might do a stream this weekend. But it will depend because I'm on short haul, which is a lot of flights. Let's have a look. I know I'm in Geneva on Sunday, but Sunday morning. I don't think I'll be watching this. So Sunday, I'll be going to Dublin. So yeah, I won't be watching that game because I'll be at work. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. The clocks change. I believe it's the end of the month. Yeah, it's been the end of this month, so just over a week away. Nathan says, I agree, Scott McTominay is a perfect example of what you're talking about. It wasn't clicking at United, he went to Napoli and then boom, it clicked. Yeah, perfect example there. I think it just, you see it all the time. You know, players come to your team, you think this player's shit, you know. Even like, I know it's a little bit different because of the age, but like Salah and De Bruyne at Chelsea, you know, they were at Chelsea. Were they the players they are now? No, absolutely not. But it just, for whatever reason, maybe because they were young, they were at the start of their careers, etc., it just didn't work. But you know, it's they've managed to find their way abroad and then they've come back to the Prem with a bang, you know, and two of the best Premier League players of all time, both of them. So, you know, it's just, it's interesting how it can happen, and we see it a lot. You know, you have a player in your youth team and, you know, no one really rates them, and then the example I always use is Sancho. Like Sancho at Dortmund and Sancho everywhere else hasn't been the same player. Do you know what I mean? He was a great player at City when he was at our youth academy, but he wanted to start in the first team, and Pep was like, "No, you're not going to start in the first team because, you know, you've not done anything to earn that yet." And, you know, he went and it was the best decision he could have made because he was brilliant at Dortmund. But then he's left again and he's not quite that same player. So yeah, not everyone can move around as easily as other players. Some players, they kind of slot into any team. I personally think you put Haaland in any team in the world, he's scoring goals. Crazy amounts of goals. Probably in some teams more goals than he scores at City. Because if he played in the Aguero times at City, where we had two strikers, and we had your David Silvers, De Bruyne's, like them sort of players creating, then I think Haaland scores a lot more because our creativity at the moment is not as good as it was in the past. So yeah, if we have players behind him, you know, that we had before, he's scoring more goals than he scores at City, which is crazy to think of because he scores a ridiculous amount of goals. So yeah, there's that, you know, but I do think with him, like, he's just one of them. Any team you put him in, he's always done it. Any team he's played for, he's done it, scoring at crazy rates. You know, so yeah. But there are players at City that I think maybe if you put them into another team, maybe they don't do as well. And then other players that I'd look at and say, you know, if you put a Doku in like a mid-table team, I think he looks a lot better than he looks at City. And it's not that he's not a good player, it's just he'd have a lot more space, you know, not as a lot more time on the ball, stuff like that. And I think he would almost look better. So yeah, we just have to see like what happens. But yeah, early Prem kickoff in Trinidad. Yeah, that's too early for me. To be fair though, I am all over the world, so I do watch City at like 2 a.m. when I'm in Asia, you know, or like I do watch City at 6 a.m. when I'm in America. Like I do actually experience what these fans abroad experience from time to time. So yeah, I kind of get your pain to an extent. Alexis Sanchez, I actually prefer it actually because when I'm in America, I want to go out in the day. So when we kick off at 2 p.m., that's just not in line with what I want to be doing. I don't want to be watching football from 2 to 4 p.m. in the middle of the day. Whereas if it's early in the morning, I can get up, watch the game, and then go about my day. So actually, early kickoffs for me are good, or late kickoffs are good for me. Because them 8 p.m. ones where they fall at 4 p.m. No, absolutely not. Don't like them. Alexis Sanchez was one of the best players in the league with us. He went to United and wasn't the same. Another example, yeah. Alexis Sanchez is a weird one because he was so good at Arsenal. So good at Arsenal. I think he should have joined City, and apparently it was almost done, and then it changed at the last minute. But I think if he joined City, he would have slotted in like a glove because he would have been, you know, yeah. We had players from like ex-Barcelona players that, you know, slotted in at City. I just think with the way we played and stuff like that, yeah, City was the move that he should have made. And unfortunately, he didn't make it for him. Van Persie's another one. I think he should have joined City. Obviously, he did win the league at United, but I think if he joins City, we win that league. It almost felt like in that summer, whoever got Van Persie was going to win the league. So yeah, I think he would have won the league regardless. But yeah, just their decision at the time. I will check that out in a bit. You know what? Like, a lot of Liverpool fans are saying, why are people getting onto Verts? Like, this is football Twitter. Like, people get onto Haaland, and Haaland is undoubtable. Do you know what I mean? How good he is. Like, that's, yeah. Like, if people can get onto Haaland, people can get onto Verts. And, like, Verts, the problem with him, and I say this all the time, is when you bring a player in and you say he's top 5 in the league, you have to back that up. You can't say he's a top 5 player and then when he starts slow, you say, well, no, he will be. No, you said he is, so he needs to hit the ground running. Ekitike has come in and hit the ground running from the same league, by the way. And Ekitike was actually back up to Marmoush in a way. Like, he wasn't the main guy. Not essentially back up because they did play together, but you know, he was not the main guy. Marmoush was the main guy. He then became the main guy when Marmoush left to join City, and he was good. And then he came to the Prem, and he's hit the ground running. So that's put even more pressure on Verts. And also, I think to be fair, because Ekitike didn't come in for a cheap price, he came in for a big fee. But I think with Isak, it's allowed him to kind of play without the added pressure because he's always expected to be like the number 2 guy. So he's not under the same pressure as an Isak, which I think is benefiting him, to be fair. But I do like Ekitike. I do think he's a good player. I do like him. He's just no nonsense. I like that. Yeah, this is true. Some teams, some players suit some leagues. But even like with De Bruyne and Salah, it's the same league. It's just the team, you know. So yeah. And that's why I think if you're not doing well at a team, just move to a different one. Try something new. You know, it doesn't mean you're finished. Doesn't mean you're not a good player. You know, like we've had players like for City, like Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was a good player at City. Good player. Like I have nothing negative to say about him at City. I don't think he was quite ready for the first team at the time that he wanted to be. We couldn't have promised him like crazy amounts of minutes at that time. But then he's gone to Chelsea and he just fits Chelsea like a glove. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have been that player, but I don't think he would have been as good as he is at City. But he's always been that player, if that makes sense. But that youth team was crazy, you know. Cole Palmer, Foden was in there. You know, even Chelsea have Gittins as well. He was in that team. O'Reilly, Rico Lewis. There were so many players in that sort of academy that were brilliant. You know, they were winning like 5 Premier League 2 trophies in a row. They were just them and Chelsea were just, you know, passing trophies from one to another. So yeah, that's another player that's blown up for a different team. Haaland is the best goal scorer I've seen. Yeah, he just, you know what? He can score with his head. He can score when he's karate kicking in the air. He can score with any foot. Anything. He can put it in the back of the net, which I love. He's inevitable right now. Wilfred Bonney was quality at Swansea, went to City and he didn't play at the same level. Another example as well. That's true. Bonney, I thought Bonney was like, and you know what as well, from Swansea, that his name's just gone out of my head now. The winger, Scott Sinclair. Scott Sinclair was another one that we got from there. Looked like he was going to light up the league, came to City, not as good. Jerome Boateng, to be fair to him, he didn't really play as much as he probably should have done at City, and I think he came kind of at the wrong time. But Jerome Boateng's another one. Didn't look the same player at City and then went elsewhere, was good. So yeah, there's so many. I just like talking, as everyone knows. So yeah, 2 hours. I'll probably do 2.5 now that I'm here, just to introduce back to the channel. My next stream, I would say, will probably be either Sunday night, when I get home, or if it's too late, then I might do one on Monday, just for anyone that's interested. Nathan says, yeah, Sanchez would have suited City better. He also played under Pep Ford and understands his football, so I never got the United move, but we moved. Yeah, apparently Pep was talking to him and it seemed like it was going to go ahead, so I don't really know what happened at the end there. It's probably more to do with Arsenal not wanting to sell him to City. I don't know why they prefer to sell players to United over us, but it just seems like that since the whole Nasri, you know, Adebayor sort of situation. They seem to go that way, which, yeah, don't really understand it because you're supposed to be big rivals, but who knows. Football Twitter / Twitter in general's a mosh pit. Didn't get how to use it anyway, but since Elon took over, worse than before. Yeah. I think the thing is with this Twitter, the old Twitter, you saw who you followed. So if you followed a bunch of football fans, you would see the opinions of your friends who supported football teams. Now it's like there's algorithms, so they will push certain things. So, you know, they'll push political things that they want you to agree with. And, you know, a lot of people are brainwashed by the media, so they believe everything they see and they kind of just like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to. No, like, just go and do research for yourself. Like, learn about things, learn history, learn things like that, and then you can have a more balanced opinion on situations. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. I agree with you, Calvin. Twitter is hell right now. Everyone's very reactionary, and like I try not to be reactionary. I try to be kind of balanced on things. You know, give people chances and stuff like that. The only thing I would say about the whole Wirtz and Isak thing is that Liverpool fans didn't give Grealish time. They didn't give Grealish any sort of. They were on his neck. And they've done it before with Arsenal players, United players. They've been on their neck. So when you do that, you have to expect it back. And I don't think it would be very fair of like rival fans to just ignore the fact that Isak's come in on big money and hasn't performed yet. Or Wirtz has come in and he's not performing to the level that you would expect for someone that costs that much money. I don't think it's really fair because they didn't give other players that, you know. I remember Haaland. Haaland came in, Community Shield against Liverpool. Darwin Núñez. Darwin Núñez played better that game. Haaland was missing chances and stuff like that. City weren't very good. We lost that game, and the stuff that they were saying after that game, Núñez is better than Haaland. Haaland, this, that, and the other. Haaland came and won a treble in his first season. But it's like they were already decided from that first game that Núñez was better than Haaland. And we were seeing it everywhere. It wasn't just Liverpool fans, it was going to the media and everything like that. So when you do that now, and then your player comes in and does not hit the ground running, I think everyone should be on their case. You know, so I will retweet the odd meme. I have said the whole time, I think Isak will come good. I think Wirtz will come good. I don't doubt that they won't come good. But at the same time, when you cost that money, you have to hit the ground running because no one else has ever been spared. You know, and Haaland didn't even cost what Isak cost. Haaland cost like 56 million because he had a buyout clause. So yeah. Mbappe is another one. Mbappe got cooked when he didn't hit the ground running. You can't come in for that money. You can't come in with the claim that you're one of the best in the league and not back it up. That's just the way it is. I think what they should have done is they should have said, you know, like, we'll see what happens. But they didn't do that. They were loud. They were loud about it, and now they want everyone to just be quiet. And it just doesn't work like that. You know, I was getting DMs from Ryan saying they'd won the quadruple. And it kind of annoys me because it's like, I don't think people realise how hard it is to even retain a Premier League. So when people are talking about 4 in a row and quads like they're easy to do, there's a reason why no one's won a quadruple. It's very hard to be at your best in 3 competitions in one season. It's very difficult. And I think other leagues sometimes, like the French league, you know, PSG are always the best in that. So they always know they're pretty much going to win it every year. There might be 1 or 2 that they don't, like a Marseille does well, or a Lyon, or somebody steps up, but 9 times out of 10, they know they're going to win that. The Premier League, that's not the case. Like, you have to play well, you know, in the Premier League for at least 30 games to win it, realistically. You can have maybe 8 games where you get a draw or you lose or whatever, but the 30 games minimum, you need to be at your best. I think in the French league, you could probably be your best for 25 and probably still scrape through and win the league, you know? So it's very difficult. Then the Champions League, again, you have to be almost flawless. You can't make many mistakes at all, and you need to take your chances. You need to be very clinical and also not make mistakes at the back. So there's that. Then you've got the cups. Obviously, the cups, yeah, you could, you know, I mean, the knockout competitions from the start. So the FA Cup, you can't have a bad game. And if you do have a bad game, you have to win, despite being bad. So to win a treble, people don't realise how hard it is, even to retain the Premier League. Once you win the league, you are everyone's cup final. Everyone goes into that game wanting to win, and Liverpool are experiencing that now, you know. So yeah, it's not easy. And I think the way people talk about it, like, oh, we're gonna win this, that, and the other, like, do it first, and then we'll have that discussion about whether you can do it or not. Because, you know, I just think it goes under the radar, and it kind of undervalues the work that these teams that have done it have put in. You know, like, it's not easy. There's a reason why, you know, only 2 teams have won it 3 times in a row. You know, in this, I know Liverpool used to, but like in this Premier League, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult to win the Champions League. Again, difficult. It's a different kind of difficult to the league. They're both difficult in their own way. That's why when people argue which is easier, they're both easier in different ways. But you have to lock in to win both. You have to absolutely be locked in, and it is very difficult. Couple of mistakes, and you're not winning one of them. You know, so yeah. And sometimes when you put your eggs across all 3 baskets, you end up winning none. So there's that as well. Sometimes, you know, just go for the league because you can win the league, you know, whereas going for the Champions League and the league and the FA Cup at the same time sometimes goes against you as well. Yeah, Caicedo, another one they did not give time to. He was getting slated from the get-go. Great player, by the way, but yeah, he didn't have time to settle. So yeah, they were trying to run agendas on Gyökeres in pre-season. A lot of rivals, including Liverpool fans, Florian Skirts can hold banter too. That's true. People were saying, can he do it in the Prem? He was in the Portuguese league. Can he do it over here? You know, the same can be said for Wirtz and Germany. Ralphie, big up Ralphie. Where have I been? Around. I've been mainly on Twitter. I've been on Sarcasm City. Big up to everyone. If you don't follow Sarcasm City, go and subscribe to them. And yeah, if you're in here, guys, like the video because I can't see how many likes we have for whatever reason. Don't know if I know where to look, but yeah, like the video, guys. If you haven't already, Nathan says, Ryan was the same guy doubting Haaland. Remember you fighting a one-sided battle defending your take on Haaland? Age well. Yeah, I was defending Haaland from before we got him. I remember doing a stream with quite a few fans, and I remember the Chelsea fans were like, we're getting Haaland, and I was like, no, you're not getting Haaland, we're getting him. And Man United were saying they were getting him because they had Solskjaer, and yeah, it's crazy. But I remember saying, like, if we sign Haaland, let me know, because until I saw an official from the club saying we've signed Haaland, I wasn't going to believe it. And I remember that day where somebody messaged me and were like, you bought Haaland. And I was like, this is crazy because Haaland is a superstar. There's only certain footballers that are superstars. And if you go to football, you know who them superstars are. It's like they have like this aura. One of them is Messi. Messi, when he's in the stadium, you can feel that he's in the stadium. The fans, like, you know, people will get pictures of him when they support the opposite team. It's Messi, you know, Ronaldo, another one. Haaland is one of them. Mbappe. I'd say there's them. There are players that come close. There's players who have their fans like a De Bruyne. De Bruyne is well respected across football. But yeah, I don't think you'd necessarily get United fans taking pictures of like well, maybe not even Haaland to be fair, but you know, fans that aren't there every week. Do you know what I mean? Haaland is a superstar. You can feel it. So I don't know how to describe it, but he's a superstar. He's not just a regular player. Nathan says, big up Sarcasm City and big up Cam Cam as well, one of the realest Arsenal fans. Big up to Cam Cam. Every time. Yeah, smash the like button, guys, and sub if you're new. Big up Dave, all the way from Cameroon. I love that. I love the fact that it's got that far. Love that. I've never been to Cameroon. One day I will try to go there. Yeah, Neymar. Yeah, I agree. Neymar is definitely one of them too. To be fair, seen Neymar a few times when he played for like Barcelona. We used to play City. We used to play Barcelona in the Champions League, like early days. Yeah, like the video, as Sammy says. Yeah, it's nice. Like, you know, I used to look forward to like seeing, you know, your Messi's come to the Etihad. You know, it's crazy. Because he's just one of them players you want to say that you've seen. Ronaldinho for me is my favourite like footballer, like outside of City. And I never got to see him play, unfortunately. He did come to the Etihad once to play, but I don't think he played. I think he was like on the bench. So yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him play live, which is a shame because I would have loved to have seen that. I've seen Ronaldo loads of times. I've seen Messi loads of times. Mbappe obviously loads of times. Yeah, mainly most other players. Just I don't think I saw. I was not at. Oh yeah, wait, three. No, I wasn't actually. My sister's husband went instead because I think I was away somewhere. I couldn't get the time off work. I can't remember, but I wasn't at that game. But yeah, I've been at the other Barcelona games. The one where we got beat that time, and Joe Hart had a brilliant game, but we still got beat. Messi masterclass. I was at that one. Yeah, I don't really. Like I say, my memory is really, really bad, but I don't think I was at that one. I was at this game. This is one of the best games I've ever seen live. Along with the Liverpool game where it was 2-2. But that 5-3 Monaco was just ballers all over the pitch. Monaco was star-studded. They had Falcao, my favourite non-City player at that time. We share the same birthday. I love Falcao. They had Bernardo Silva. They had Fabinho. They had Kylian Mbappe. They just had ballers on the pitch. And then we had, obviously, our star-studded squad, Sane, like, oh, it was just that game was brilliant. Really, really good game for like a neutral. Really good. One of the best, if not the best game I've seen at the Etihad. Really, really good. Love Falcao. Loved him. El Tigre, as they call him. Loved him. I was so gutted when he joined Man United. I even went to the Emirates Cup to watch him play because I knew he was coming to play against Arsenal. I was like, I'm gonna go and watch him all the way there. And then he joined Man United about a month later, and I was like, what is this? Ridiculous. He ruined it because before that he was like my favourite ever. And then he went there, and yeah, it's just different. I agree, Dave. He is. He is. I don't think people realise how much. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they realise how big he is. Haaland is different. You can feel it when he's there, and he's massive as well. Some of these players are big. You know, he's really. You can tell when you're in the stadium. He's a star, proper star, superstar, man. I'd love to have seen Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta live. Some of my favourite players from this era. Yeah, I mean, I think they were all still playing when I saw them at that time. I want to say, but yeah, I wish City were better a bit earlier. Because if we were better a bit earlier, we would have been playing these teams more regularly. Whereas by the time we were playing them, I mean, they were still in the, we still were playing when they had Pep, But yeah, it wasn't quite their best teams like 2010, 11. Just a little bit after that. I think 2012, I think we played them. But yeah, that was a crazy game. It was. I love that Monaco game, honestly. I knew you were an undercover Arsenal fan. Emirates Cup moving like Micah Richards. You know what? It's funny because my sister's Arsenal, and my other sister's husband is Arsenal, and my cousin is Arsenal, and they wanted to go. So I drove. So they were like, "Will you drive us to Arsenal?" So I was like, "You know what?" And then I looked and I saw Falcao was going to be there, and I'm like, "I'm there to support Falcao." So they all had that Arsenal shirts on. I remember I posted a picture and someone was like, "Oh, I see you in your Arsenal shirt." I was like, "That is not me. That's my sister." Like, we look kind of similar. But yeah, no, I have been once the Emirates Cup. Actually, every time I go to the Emirates, Arsenal have never won, which is another reason why I went. So I'm just, if they look like they're going to win the league, I'm getting a few Arsenal tickets on. Like, you will see me on them, like, websites. Like, I am paying to go to Arsenal because you ain't winning no league when I can control it. And I live not that far from the Emirates. Trust me. You will see me at the last couple of games. He is, Sammy. He's just joined YouTube the day I decided to come back. So everyone's going to be watching his instead of watching mine. But I probably will watch it, to be fair. I'd love to get Haaland on. I would absolutely love to get Haaland on, but there's no way he'd ever be allowed, unfortunately. That's a shame. I'd love to get Pep on. Oh my God. But then I'd probably be so shy, I just wouldn't say anything. I'd just be sat here like this. So, yeah. But yeah, then Barca Chelsea games were insane. Yeah. I mean, Chelsea fans weren't happy. UEFA loner and all that they used to say, but I definitely want to be a jinx. 100. If I can help my team to win the league in any way, shape, or form, trust me, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna help them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Arsenal when I go there, but they just don't seem to win. I don't know what it is. I went a few times in the league. One, I think we won 2-1. Raheem Sterling scored. I went to the 3-0 where we beat them. So I went to the Carabao Cup final where we won 3-0, and then I went to the Emirates the same week and we won 3-0. It was snowing, the stadium was half empty. De Bruyne masterclass. I went to that, and then I went to the one where it was 1-1. Demichelis scored for us. Um, but yeah, I can't get tickets anymore. Like even then, I don't think I got a ticket. I think some guy got me a ticket. Um, but yeah, like it just, yeah, it was difficult for me to get tickets, and now it's even worse because all the 18 to 25s come in, the club give away crazy amounts of tickets to like people that work at City and stuff like that. So, they'll give you an allocation of 2,000, but it's already capped heavily when you get that number because supporters clubs get a bunch. Then you've got the legacy fans that have been going for donkey's years. They have like all the tickets. So there's probably only a very small amount of tickets to kind of get anyway. So yeah, it's not great. You kind of have to know someone now at City to kind of get there. Or you need to be part of a supporters club. And I mean, I have been part of supporters clubs in the past, but I've lived in London a long time, and like I don't know, like because that City fan that joined the City fan bandwagon, I won't mention her name, but she jumped on. She ended up going to loads of away games that I would never get tickets for. She joined 2 different supporters clubs, which you're not actually allowed to do. But yeah, I have been with one, and I did go to some games that I wouldn't have been able to get tickets for otherwise. I did try and join a London one once, but my address is my parents' address because I just leave it there. Because if City send me stuff, anything that I need for City, I'm going to go to my parents' house. So my address is in Manchester. So they wouldn't let me join the London Supporters Club, but I'm not setting my address to here because if they send me a ticket or something, I'm probably going to need it when I'm there. Or I can just go home. I go home like every other week anyway. So yeah, I'll leave it as that address. So they wouldn't let me sign up. But yeah, I probably need to maybe join one to kind of go to away games and stuff. Because there are quite a few that I could do away, especially living in London. Like Brentford is not far from me at all. So it would be nice to go there. Torres Dagger at the Camp Nou. Yeah, no. I mean, Chelsea got closer and closer before they actually won it. Um, yeah, but I'm a baby to City. I've been going 20 years, but that's not 22 years, 21 years, 21 or 22 years. That's not long for a City fan. Most people have been going like 35, if not longer. So yeah, and then the younger guys that go, they are if you so when you're young, so say your dad buys a ticket, but you're under 16, you can get tickets for certain away games because your dad's going. So the problem I had is that when I was at that age where I could have got them privileges, my dad didn't go away. So I never used to go away. So a lot of these kids now who are younger than me that have been going less time than me have actually got probably more points than me. Or if they don't have more points, they have other ways of getting in to away games. So they're either part of a supporters club, or they've been going through the 18 to 25 scheme, or if they haven't been going through that, because they've been going since they were children, City kind of give you a way of getting in. So I didn't get a ticket for the Stoke final against the FA Cup final against Stoke. I didn't get a ticket. Haaland was there. Haaland got a ticket, but I didn't get a ticket because I'd only at that time been going for probably 8 years. And because of that, I didn't get a ticket. I got a ticket to the semi-final, but I didn't get a ticket to the final because they didn't let you bring your kids with you. And I think at that age, even though I wasn't a kid, I think I was using my brother's season ticket for like 1 season. So again, I didn't have any of my points or anything like that. So yeah, it's not really worked out great for me in terms of points at City, but You know, it kind of is annoying when people start saying, "Oh, I wish I was a City fan because I could go everywhere." And actually, it's easier to go away as an Arsenal fan or a United fan than it is as a City fan. Because I have a cousin that's an Arsenal fan that goes to Man City versus Arsenal. Like, I wouldn't be able to go to that game on the reverse, and he doesn't have a season ticket for Arsenal, and he doesn't go very often, but he is still able to go. I've got a cousin who lives down south, actually. It's my dad's cousin. He's a United fan. He's a season ticket holder. I see him at the Etihad sometimes when we play United. So, yeah. But he doesn't go away every week, but he could get a ticket for that. So it's actually harder in some ways being a City fan trying to go away than other fan bases. So yeah, there's that. It's not great because I love an away day. An away day, if anyone hasn't been away, go to an away game. It is 10 times better than a home game. Honestly, it's just the atmosphere's great, like the vibes are great. Just, you know, they sing different songs, like you learn songs when you're away that you don't hear at home. Yeah, it's honestly good vibes. I've done quite a few away days in my time. Nowhere near as many as I'd like to do. I've never actually been away in Europe apart from the Istanbul Champions League final. But yeah, I've not really done it. There's a few times where I've been like, I'm gonna do it, but I go on my own and I don't have friends at City, so it would literally be a solo trip of me going. And it's now that I travel for a living, I'm always on my own in foreign countries. I would feel a lot more comfortable doing it, but at the time, I was thinking I don't know if I want to go to like Madrid on my own for 2 days or something like that. Whereas now I definitely would because I'm always on my own in foreign countries, you know. But yeah, like now I'll walk around like Poland and places like that on my own. So yeah, it's a bit different. So I'm looking at like the odd game that I could go to maybe away. But you kind of need to get a ticket first because you can't rely on there being a ticket available. So I need to kind of get the ticket first and then sort out flights and stuff like that. But I think I'll be able to do it. I think I will be able to do it. So I'm gonna look into maybe something that's not been scheduled yet, like the next round if we get through, and then I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know which game I would want to go to. Maybe something that's a little bit less for everyone likely to go. I think with City fans, they kind of get bored of the same destination. So we play Real Madrid every single season. So it's easier for me to get like a Real Madrid ticket than it would be if we play a team that we've never been to or we've not been to for like Bodo Glimt, for example. That'll be sold out because everyone's going to want to go because it's a new place that we've not been to. So that will sell out a lot quicker than like a Real Madrid. So I might go to Madrid, but I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see how it goes, see if I'm at work, see if I'm not, etc., etc. So yeah, I would love to come to Trinidad. We don't actually fly to Trinidad, annoyingly. So yeah. Uh, sorry, I didn't even see that. You want to go to a game one day? Definitely do it. It's the best thing ever, honestly. Football is. I went to my first football game and I just never looked back. I was like, this is me. This is what I want to do. And it is, I do miss it. Like when I'm not there or I've not been to a game for a while, I really do miss it. I do love my career right now, so it's not that I would be like, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna not do my job because of City, because I have had my years where I've like dedicated a lot of time to Man City. I've lived in London for years. I've literally drove to Manchester, gone to a Champions League game, and drove straight back in one day. I've done that before. I've gone without sleep. Sometimes I get back from a flight and I go to Manchester, watch the game, and I'm like almost asleep watching it. So yeah, I have dedicated a lot of time to Man City, because I love it so much. But yeah, it now because I've kind of seen us win everything, now I'm like less bothered to like, have to be at every single game, for every single minute. Like I can if I know I can't go, then I'll just kind of if I can't get out of work, then I will miss it. Like unfortunately I'm gonna miss the Liverpool game, which isn't great. I like to go to the big games, but I missed the derby already. City won't be happy because they don't like fans that miss games, but not everyone works 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so there's that. But yeah, the drive is about, depends. If you drive at night, it's not as long. It's about 3.5, 4. If you drive in the day, it can be any time from like, again, 4 till 7. It's taken me 7 hours once, which is crazy. But I used to live in South London. Now I live on the west side, so it's a lot. It's about an hour closer than it was. And my parents live south of Manchester, so it's a bit easier in that respect. But if I was to go straight to the Etihad, you have to add on like another 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So yeah, there's that. Nathan says, Jan, thoughts on Doku and his potential. I like Doku. He was actually, I don't know if anyone knows this, but he was apparently, it was De Bruyne that was batting for him to come to City, telling City, you know, this is a good player, you need to get him, blah, blah, blah. I like Doku. I think he has settled in all right. I think he can go up levels. After he got baptised this season, he's been better. Since the international break, he's not been as good as he was before, but I think he's still got levels to go up, I would say. I do like Doku. But yeah, I think the problem with City fans is we've gone from having Mahrez, who is different class, Sane and Sterling, prime Sane. We went from having them. So anyone compared to them is not going to look as good because these were players who didn't play with a traditional number 9. Because even Aguero, even though he was a number 9, he wasn't like as traditional as like a Haaland, where it's like, look for me. Like Aguero didn't really care if he scored or someone else scored. He just wanted the ball in the back of the net. Whereas Haaland, it's like, I'm going to be the one that scores this goal. Look for me, pass to me. So I do think when you play with a false 9, it's slightly different because all 3 of you are kind of expected to be in the centre or able to score. Whereas for us, we're not asking for Doku to really score, we're asking him to pass. So it's slightly different. Obviously, I don't think Doku is as good as them 3 because I think them 3 were exceptional. But I do think people are comparing him to them, and it's a little bit unfair because I think them 3 at City were exceptional. But I think Doku's good. I don't hate on Doku like people do. I think he's all right. I don't think he's the problem. You know, last season he wasn't the problem. Savinho needs to go up a few levels as well. I think Savinho I would look at more than Doku just because Doku is doing more, you know. You can see the difference when Doku's on. I think Savinho, like, he just needs to go up a few levels, which I think he can. He's still young. He did well in a terrible City team last season. We weren't great last season, and he did all right. So I'm not really worried. I don't judge City players too early, especially when they're young, like Savinho is. But yeah, he's under a lot of pressure right now because City fans are kind of looking at him like, what are you going to do for me this season? So yeah, we'll see. I think both of our wingers need to improve in output, be that assists or goals or both. They do need to improve because we're used to big numbers, you know, and I'm not expecting the big numbers that, you know, a Mahrez or a Sterling did, but we need more than what they're giving us. So yeah, I think they'll get there. But the standards for them are higher than they're achieving right now, I would say. Doku is like Vinny pre 2021, great dribbling, just need end product now. I agree. He does. He's great at dribbling. He is a nightmare for defenders, and stuff like that. But I do think, yeah, he's a bit of a nightmare for defenders, but he does need to be more clinical. 100%. I agree with that. You can drive to the end of Trinidad in less than 5 hours. I know. I mean, with England, it's more traffic. Like the time that it actually takes if there's no traffic is 3 hours or maybe even less. But I tend to drive at night, so there's no traffic. But it's motorways. They always close roads. Like the motorway is always closed at night. There's always a detour that takes like an extra 30 minutes and stuff like that. If the roads were all open and they just left the roads, then yeah. And for now, like I don't understand what's going on. But years ago, I used to drive home. There was nothing on the road. Now there's traffic. Every time I drive now, there's some sort of traffic jam. It's normally around Stafford, Stoke sort of area, or it's in Birmingham. But there's always some sort of traffic somewhere, and it drives me insane because there's no need at 3 a.m. for there to be traffic, but there is. It's just it's just annoying. Oh, sorry. Sammy says Liao, the winger, is the winger a big team needs. Jan AC Milan. Crap. We've been linked to Liao so many times. I just don't see him leaving. Calvin says Liao is not consistent enough. Our fans would be on his case, to be fair, because they're on Daku's case, and Daku's not been too bad. Niger LFC TV, big up to you. Says what's up, people. We're just streaming again for the first time in 4 years. So I'm just getting used to it again. But it's been a good stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Because I honestly felt like I'd be sat here talking to myself for like, I probably would have done an hour if no one turned up. But yeah, it's nice to see you all here. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't liked already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I will be doing regular streams. I'm gonna aim for twice a week, maybe 3 times. It depends on my schedule. This weekend I'm on short haul, so short haul I don't have a lot of time. And even when I do have time, it's time to sleep. Next week I'm off and then I go to Cape Town, so I'll have way more time. But yeah, do you plan on going on any World Cup matches in North America? I did actually plan to because I'm always in America. I'm in America like at least twice a month. The problem I have is the prices of the tickets. Like they're not reasonable at all. Like, and I've been to basketball games and you do pay quite a bit for basketball games. Like if you want the nosebleed seats, you're still paying £90, £100. That's fine. I don't mind doing it as a one-off. It's, you go in there. I've been to a Lakers game. I went to see LeBron play. I did that. I went to a Mavericks game when I was in Dallas. Like, I don't mind doing that. It's okay on a one-off. But yeah, for World Cup football, where other teams play and it's so much cheaper, like when they had the Brazilian World Cup, like Brazilian people were able to go for cheap, and then foreigners coming in would pay a standard price that was more expensive. But even Americans are not getting cheap prices in this World Cup. So I dread to think what it's going to end up as, because the cheapest tickets right now, I think, are like $1,000. And you're not even in a good part of the stadium. If I'm paying £1,000 for a ticket or $1,000 for a ticket, I want to be on the front row, because my season ticket is on the front row, and I don't pay anywhere near $1,000 for my season ticket. So yeah, no, absolutely not. So I would go, but the pricing, they need to reevaluate the pricing, I think, because it's like, I know Americans have this thing where they'll pay anything to go, but I don't think you're not going to get the authentic fans that you want, because there's no way. I mean, if English people are struggling to afford that, there's no way that fans from other countries that are, in a worse financial state are going to be able to afford to go. There's just no way. People that live in poorer countries, that'll be their whole half of their, probably their monthly salary to go to one game. It's just, then you've got to get tickets. Hotels in America are crazy expensive. Most of the hotels we stay in at work are like $500 a night. It's crazy, and it's gonna even be worse when the World Cup's there, because the need for them is crazy. So yeah, I mean, I have to see, because if I'm at work in a particular place, I might do it, just because it's a case of, if it's in the hundreds, not the thousands, I might do it just as a one-off if it's a really good game or something. But yeah, it's not looking likely at the moment. just with the price, I just think it's crazy. Nathan says, Sammy, the only thing I hear from Milan fans is layout is inconsistent, can be good for 2 games and then be crap for the other 10. I've heard that as well, to be fair. I do like him. But yeah, I thought you were still on Sarcasm City. Didn't know you hadn't streamed for 4 years, but sometimes life is life and shit happens, so I understand. No, I have been on Sarcasm City. I didn't stream for a long while. I've been on Sarcasm City here and there. I used to do with Carefree Lewis. I used to do Shameless, but we haven't done that in a while. So yeah, not done that for a long time, but I meant my channel. I've not been on this channel for 4 years, so yeah, I thought why not? I don't I'm not big enough to like be paid to be on here, but it's fun to do it. Why not? Sammy says Jamaica versus Trinidad in Trinidad next month. World Cup qualifier is going to be huge. Yeah, I would love to see that. I've never actually watched Jamaica live. I need to. Next time I go to Jamaica, I might try and go. My uncle used to work for, or my cousin, I should say, used to work for the JFF. So yeah, he used to be a football manager in Jamaica for a long time. Actually, he was like an Arsene Wenger. He was there for like 20 years, and then now he's left. He's moved to America, I think. Dave says the thing with Americans is it's a spectacle for them, so they wouldn't mind £5 tickets. However, it's absurd to think that for international fans, we'll be going to their tickets. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think it's different. Whenever something is a one-off, you could justify the cost. But these England fans, for example, that are going to watch England all the time. Like, how many international breaks are there? Wembley's not cheap. Going a day out to Wembley is not cheap. Like, even if the ticket is 30 quid, you've got to get there. That's £20. If you live in London, it's a lot more if you don't. If you're getting the train, it's over £100. Then you've got food. Wembley, again, not cheap. Couple of beers, not cheap. You're looking at like probably for most fans for a away day, if you're going to stay over as well, you're looking at £500 minimum, minimum. And that's probably people that go home the same day. So it's a lot of money. If you're doing that obviously if you live in London, it's a little bit different because you're not paying too much to get there. And if your tickets are cheaper, it's not too bad. But yeah, it's not cheap. So then to go all the way to America, you're not going to go America for like one day. You're going to go for probably a week. The hotel's going to cost you a fortune. You can't walk anywhere. It's not like England where you can say, oh, I'm going to go to Birmingham, stay in a hotel and walk to the game. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have to get taxis or trains or whatever. Nothing is cheap in America. And I say this as someone that is always in America. Nothing is cheap. There's a reason why their salaries are a lot higher than ours on average. It's having an English salary going to America is not fun, I can tell you that. But yeah, I don't think, but not even English people are from like one of the more high earning countries. I'm talking about people from like South America, like Argentinians. A lot of them, like, the employment rates there are not great. Like, they don't earn very much money. Brazilians, again, a lot of people there are quite poor. Like, not everyone, obviously. There's millionaires everywhere. But yeah, there's the general fans that want to go and see their team play and cheer them along. They're not going to be able to afford to go to America. And even food in America, like, you go out for takeaway in America, like McDonald's, 20 quid. Do you know what I mean? Maybe 15. Chick-fil-A, £15. Chipotle, a little bit cheaper, maybe £10, £11. Do you know what I mean? If you want a drink, 15. Then you've got tax added on. This is just basic food. So I can't imagine what it's going to be in the stadium. Probably going to be hell of a lot more. Beers, stuff like that. An alcoholic drink in America, $20, $25. If you're lucky, it's 15. Yeah, it's not cheap. Like, it's even to think about going for just the game, just that day, without staying over, without flights, without everything. It's crazy money. It's crazy. The amount of money they're going to make from that is insane. So yeah, it is crazy to me. Niger, LFC TV, I think World Cup prices will go down because it's 48 teams and it'll be hard to fill up stadiums. Also, once the draw happens, fans will gravitate towards the more higher profile matches. I agree with that. I think they will have to put them down. Because if they don't, they're either going to get a bunch of day trippers who just want to go and watch football because they've never seen a football game before. Or you're going to get, like, you're not going to get the authentic fans and the authentic atmosphere that you get from a World Cup. I don't think they're going to get that if they don't put the tickets down. So yeah, it's like me when I go to a Lakers game. Like, I would say I'm a Lakers fan out of all the basketball teams, but I'm not like doing what the regular fans are doing because I'm not there every week. You know, it's very different to when I'm at City and I'm chanting and I know all the chants and, you know, proper supporting the team. It's a bit different. So I'm a day tripper in you know, in that context, you know what I mean? So yeah, you want to, when you go to the World Cup, you want to be supporting the team. You don't want to just be there like, oh, I'm here to support any team. You know, it's just, it's not the same. It's just not the same. They need to fill it with authentic fans. Because all the other World Cups have been such good vibes. Like, you had like the Brazil one, good vibes. South Africa one, probably the best vibes in a long time. Do you know what I mean? Anywhere in Europe, it's going to have good vibes because fans can go, you know. And if it's in Manchester and it's £150 for a ticket, then it's fine because it's 150 quid and you're just stepping out your door, you know, and you can go to, like, if it's at the Etihad, you can go and eat at McDonald's for £5-6, you know, because it's right next door and it's cheap. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to eat in the stadium. I hardly ever eat in the Man City Stadium. To be fair, I don't really eat at football, but if I do, like, you might get the odd thing from City, but it's not, you're not forced to kind of pay it. Whereas in America, these stadiums are not close to other things. They're not like, most of them are not close to things. So you are going to be stuck buying food in that arena. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. Football is an expensive hobby. If you add up how much you spend per season on just everything, like me, petrol alone, to go to London, Manchester, back is expensive, and I drive. It'd be even more if I got a train. Luckily, I go home to my mum's house, so I don't have to pay for accommodation or anything like that. But yeah, it's crazy. Nathan says, "I'll spend that £20 at a grocery shop and cook at home, man. Mackey's is dirt." Yeah, I don't eat at McDonald's. I'm just saying in general. Next to the Etihad, there's a McDonald's. That's why I brought that up. But yeah, anywhere. McDonald's is supposed to be cheap, was my point. Because in the UK, if you go to McDonald's, you can get a meal for like £6. You can't do that in America. Even at McDonald's, you can't do that. And to be fair, grocery shops in England make sense because things are cheap. In America, the grocery shops are not cheap. If you want to buy like mango, it's like £8 for some mango in a thing. I bought some grapes the other day, about £5 for some grapes. So yeah, America, again, even the grocery store is not cheap, which is crazy. Yeah, in general, yeah, it's true. But everywhere is crazy prices. I've just come back from Johannesburg and oh my God, I love it there. Johannesburg is great. I went out, I got halloumi cheese for starters. I got a bottle of rosé wine. I got a steak with chips and spinach. And they give you like a Dom Pedro, which is ice cream with amarula, which is kind of like a Baileys, like South African Baileys. And it was like £30 for all of that. In England, 30 quid for the bottle of wine. 30 quid for the steak, probably. The size of the steak. Crazy. And you got bread and biltong as well for free. Crazy, right? So yeah, when I go there, I'm like, I love this life because it's just cheap. You can drink all night. I think I bought a strawberry daiquiri. It was like that big. Cost me £5. Crazy. I went to America. I went to New Orleans and I got one drink, which was their hurricane. And it was like this big. I'd say half of it was ice. So there was like probably about that much liquid. And it cost me £14, I think it was. It's not even comparable in price, honestly. It's crazy. Niger LFC TV, we'll see a lot of influencers getting tickets. That is true. That is true. You'll see like speed at every game and all of them. You will definitely. For sure. Nathan says that was it. Oh, sorry. Brought that up before. Dave says South Africa was my best football experience ever, though the Vuvuzela will drive you nuts. Qatar 2 was fantastic. The drama in the games told its own tales. Yeah, Qatar, the only issue with Qatar was the time of the year, but because it gets so hot there in the summer, they had to play it then. But yeah, South Africa, one of the best vibes. Love that. You know, Shakira's Waka Waka. There was just so much going on in that one. It was good vibes. Qatar, I wish, to be fair, I'd gone to Qatar. I think if I'd have done the job that I do now at the time, I would have gone because we do fly to Qatar. But back then I didn't go because all the hotels and everything were booked up. I think my sister's husband's brother actually lives out there, but didn't really know that at the time. But yeah, I don't know. I just think with America, it's very everything is expensive there and everything is always overpriced. So to then put football, which is a working man's game, to put that over there, I just don't think it really mixes. Like, if it was like a summer competition like they do, that's a bit different because if you go there, you go in there for the vibes, you just go in there for, whatever. But the World Cup, it means everything to these players. They're going to want their best fans behind them. They're going to want people supporting them. Like, they're not going to want people going there on a trip. Just on a one-off. Like, they're just not going to want that. They're going to want their proper fans there that go home and away, all over the world supporting them. And I think they should have that, So, like, I know for a fact Jamaicans, with what Jamaican people earn, they're not going to be able to afford to go. So it's going to be all the American Jamaicans who now live in America, which there's a hell of a lot of Jamaicans that live there. But it's going to be people like that going, which is fine. And they will support them. Like Jamaicans are going to show up. They're going to show up and show out. They will. But the fans from Jamaica that probably watch them every time they play at home, they're probably not going to be able to go. So it's a little bit unfair sometimes. It's like if City play somewhere and none of our home fans can go. When they start saying, oh, we're going to play this game, like they were saying the other day, they were going to play a La Liga game in Miami. It's like, so what about these fans, like, who have been going 60, 70 years, who are there week in, week out supporting their team, that have been to, like, 200 games in a row? Are they going to be able to afford to go to Miami to then watch their team? Like, I don't know. But I don't really agree with it. So I think if they reduce the prices, which I agree with you, I think they will eventually, it'll be better. But yeah, we'll have to see. The last World Cup was the best on the pitch, best final ever too. It was a good one, to be fair. I love Amarula. I love it. I have like 2 massive bottles here. My experience in Lagos, I've been to Lagos twice, 3 times, I think. It's okay. Like, we're not really supposed to go out of the hotel, but I did. I went and got my hair done. It was amazing. My hair was looking fire and it was cheap. So yeah, I will go back to Lagos to get my hair done again because I loved it. We don't really go out too much in Lagos. I'm not really out there with, doing stuff that you would do if you went there. Or, I don't really, we don't really get to do that, but it's good. It's good. Abuja for me is better because our hotel in Abuja is nicer. And yeah, we're there at better hours because Lagos, we get there at night and we leave the following night. And every time I go to Lagos, the weather's not great. Last time it was okay, actually. Most time it's like raining or something, so not really been out too much in Lagos. Abuja, it was good vibes. There was sun, we were around the pool, there was music. Good times, good times. But I have friends that live in Abuja, so I think next time I go there, I'm going to get my friends to come to the hotel for the day. Because I haven't seen him in ages. He used to live with my sister's husband before they moved in together. So yeah, he's like a good friend of mine. So I'll probably chill with him next time. Dave said, yes, I mean, I don't think I can remember a dull game from Qatar, man. It was epic. It wasn't really good. I love the World Cup, though. It is good vibes. And to be fair, even though I wouldn't say I necessarily support England, it's not that I don't support England. It's just that, like, when I was a kid, the England team consisted of a bunch of Man United players, and I was like, I don't like these players. So I did support England when I was a child, like everyone did, you know, when you're at school. If you grew up in the 90s in England, when the World Cup was on, you literally didn't do, like, you would be able to go to the hall and there'd be like this big screen and you'd watch the World Cup and you'd have like your England flags and it was just good vibes. It was good vibes. Um, and I went to a very white British school, so like literally it was only England. Like I had one friend that was Italian, so when Italy played, she was like supporting Italy, and I was obviously Jamaican. But apart from that, everyone else was like English. So it was good vibes when England were winning, and I think England in general, when England are winning, is good vibes over here. So I always want England to do well. Um, Even if I wouldn't say like I'm a supporter of England as such, but I do want them to do well as they can do. Um, but yeah, and obviously I support City players, so if a City player plays in that team, I want them to do well. In the last one, I was supporting Rodri because I wanted Rodri to win the Euros. Because I wanted him to be respected, and it won him a Ballon d'Or, so I don't regret my decision on that one. Um, but yeah, I would have hated to have seen what the agendas would have been if Declan Rice dunked on Rodri, you know. So yeah, that all happened for a good reason. But yeah, when England are winning, good vibes over here, so I'm all for it. Big up to Nathan, repping Jamaica. And like I said, smash the like button and sub if you're new. I think I'm going to wrap up now because this has been a lot longer a stream than I was actually expecting. Big up to you guys because you've actually locked in, and I've not been chatting to my own for a minute of this 3 hours and 11 minutes so far. I'll just get to what you're saying, Nathan, before I go. I don't want the Tottenham Hotspur of international football to do well, but whenever Lewis, Skelly, Saka, Rice, or Eze play, I'll back them. Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like I always used to support City players, and I want the City players to do well. I didn't want Harry Kane to win anything. When he retires, England can win everything, you know. I just know what the agendas will be if it happens, and I'm not into it, you know. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Sammy, great stream. Thanks very much. Calvin, great stream. Big up. Thank you guys. Honestly, I really, really appreciate it. Like, I'm not just saying it. I really appreciate that you're here and that you've been talking and stuff like that. And yeah, big up to Nathan every time. Yeah, I'll be streaming a bit, like probably maybe twice, 3 times a week. Just to get back into it, I think. And then yeah, I was thinking of doing something when I'm abroad maybe and bringing in fans, but that's in the very, very early stages right now. So I won't say too much about that, but that would be good. Just taking advantage of all the countries that I'm into and speaking to people in different countries about football and stuff like that. So eventually I do want to do that, but for now it's just going to be probably just like this, just me. If anyone wants to jump on, maybe me and someone else, I don't really mind. But yeah, I really appreciate you all guys locking in, and thank you so much. So I will see you next time. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon.